Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. I'm Execute, joined today by my partner in crime as usual, Mr. Algared. How you doing?
I'm a very tired Algared who has not slept.
I've got my tea. I'm awake. Hushly.
I've had my coffee, but it's not enough.
I was
I
actually
need more.
thinking before the show, Algared, we actually snuck in a sneaky episode yesterday. But we have to go back and do the one we had planned for this weekend because information has changed. So the one that we recorded yesterday, you guys will probably get to see. Do you want to tell people what we recorded an episode on, Algared, for this weekend? Do you remember?
No, I don't. What was it?
Zeus.
No.
Cometh.
Yes. The God's cometh.
Yes. So yeah, we've done our nice little speculation episode on the Zeus. We got some little info we were going to share with you guys.
We heard something was coming. It's not the second coming, so you're safe, people. But yes,
we are not going to have YouTube chat today, Algared. Oh wait, there might be a way I can do it. Hold on, it will take me a hot minute.
Okay, I've got YouTube up as well, so I can see that.
Yep. Just give me a minute to get that working. If you can talk to people, or potentially there is one question, but I don't have the bot up. Just give me a second. I'll do that for you.
Yep. No, it's okay. I'm kind of still setting up the little bits and pieces myself, like putting up our bots so I can see the questions as they come in once the bot's running.
Yeah.
Always useful if you have a bot running.
Bot's going.
As we found when Paul and I were doing it while you were away, man, I don't know how Paul does it.
Yeah, bot makes
when he's doing it live. It is absolute mayhem. He needs a bot.
Yes,
that's all I'll say. He needs a bot. And yes, it's already picked up those two. So good morning, Joe Demar. And Tom Van Duren. Thank you. By the way, guys, thank you for that membership. Both Tom and Joe Demar have become YouTube members, which is always appreciated. It always takes me back. I'm always amazed that you guys support us and are happy to support us and help us do the things we do. Yeah, it's never expected, but gee whiz, it's always appreciated. And yeah, probably more than you guys know and more than we ever say. So yeah, so thanks for that.
All right, do you want to take that first question, Algared? I've got to remember how to do this.
Yep, so Jodemo or however you want to, if you're doing the or he says, or they say, with improvements to Salvage and very soon tractor beams coming to the game, do you think we will see salvage yards in space for soft dev ships?
I'll let you take that.
Eventually. Well, eventually, yes, because the pirate base Spider is actually a ship graveyard. It's where it used to be the UEE Navy's place where they retired their fleets and just stored them because it's basically an empty system. As the funding for the Navy dried up, they pulled their maintenance crews away, and then squatters moved in because it was cheap. And so they have built up this massive mass of ships and old station bits, and they've just jury-rigged them together, and there's basically a major settlement there. So there's that. But you've also got other areas. We do know there are places where there are shipyards, and so I can see that whole thing. And the planet which, and I always forget the planet where Drake actually moved, which used to be a major shipyard. They moved there because they could actually turn it into their salvage yards. And so, yeah.
Can I just say two things? Jitani EMD, thank you for the Prime subscription. There was also 2 memberships earlier on this morning from, I believe it was Tom and Joe
and Tom Van Duren.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Thank you for those guys, because they did it before we even started. So yeah, I had to do housekeeping. And people are apparently liking the beanie, but okay, sure. Yeah. I just didn't want to wear the hat today. I just felt...
You can see how much Execute pays attention when he's doing stuff. He's like me. He just zooms out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Tom just said in YouTube chat, the SRV does towing, so yes, the whole aspect of that will occur. Whether it ends up being something that CIG specifically puts in game and says this is where you go, or whether it's something that players actually decide, okay, this location here, Hurston, Lagrange Point 1, that is now going to be a junkyard, and that's where all the junk gets pulled. Who knows? I can imagine.
It might even be player-made ones. Well, we obviously know the salvage yards on the ground. So, if you can have, well, think of it this way, Algared. You could literally have a Kraken with a junkyard built around it by a player.
You get junk. And that's what I'm saying. If
junk could be part of your defense.
Yeah.
You
could set up your, set your minefield, because you put your junk field up, and then you got your mines in certain areas, so you're actually really limiting that area, the approaches to that. But also, I could see players just saying, okay, we want these area cleared, so we're going to just use, X point as our junkyard or our salvage yard, and that's where, you bring the stuff there so that people could, junk town.
That's a good one.
So people could go in there and drag the stuff there while others are just salvaging it, and I could see that being a thing. It's a bit like the idea of you set your Orion up somewhere, and then you've got you've set it up in a major astrofield field, but you're using tractor beams and everything else to haul up things to it rather than moving it to them.
Do you think, Algared, you're more likely to see these huge mining fleets, or these fleets that are a combination of multiple different professions? Because I think that the latter is what I'm expecting. So you'll have like your, you might have a reclaimer, a Ryan, and what are other professions. So everyone's doing their own little niche at the same time, and you're all helping each other.
Depends on where you are.
Yeah, true.
Like if you're in in basically Stanton, which will be a safe area patrolled by UEE. I wouldn't expect to need to see multiple ships or professions. So if you're in a minefield, or not a minefield, a asteroid field doing mining, the chances of needing that salvage ship to do salvage is minimal. So so you wouldn't see as much. If you're in, say, an area where somewhere with pyro, you might see that. I think you'd see, and depending on where you are, I think you'll see more security aspects built in. So if I'm in pyro, I think you'd see, Nautilus is building minefields and maintaining them just to defense. You'd see other ships that are doing patrols, and
I still think repair ships. I still think Nautilus is so underrated. It's not funny.
Oh yeah,
just from the mines. It's not the ship. It's not the ship. It's what the mines do.
It's the mines that make or break that, I think. And I think
rapid deployment. Rapid deployment is just so underrated. Like you can just drop like 24 mines. Like that's huge. Well, and sentry turrets.
The fact that it's got 4 launchers that spew them out into, that's 4 at a time.
Yep,
that's pretty huge.
Well, it's just how long does it take you to reload them, and then you can shoot another 4. Just like the Polaris and its 8 torpedoes. Like how quickly can you reload them is going to be that key. Because if you can afford to throw 8 ships at a Polaris and it takes 10 minutes to reload them, you know what I mean? Like that's its weakness. It's a cost. Becomes a mathematical problem.
Yeah. Do I do a full broadside, basically firing everything?
Yeah.
Fire everything. Or do I go and just have a steady stream of these?
Yeah. So the people are not noticing Algared is finger dancing, but
yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll control myself. If you chop my hands off, usually you can't see my hands at all.
Yeah.
If you chop my hands off, I can't talk.
No. So, do we want to talk about Startle, Algared? We did this yesterday before we recorded, didn't we? It delayed us by about half an hour.
We did. Did we finish answering that question?
I think
we answered enough for you guys?
I think we did.
Hope that answered the question for you, Jonamo.
So I'm going to cut it over because we played this yesterday. We started looking at it because someone linked it to us last week and we didn't know what it was. And we played it, and we're going to play it with you guys now. And there was a couple of times Algared and I got 2 between us. So it is hard to do even for us. And we found some information that was wrong, didn't we, Algared? And we emailed him. He got back to me, Algared. I'll see if I can open the email. Hold on. I don't know if I can open it on screen though. That'll be the interesting thing. Where is he? Here it is. So I know you can see it, but can I open?
Well, I can see it, but I can't read it because it's too small.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think of a way I can open this in, so people on stream can see it. Can I open this in browser? Is that an option? No. Long story short, he said he took all his information from a wiki. Algared.
Oh well, that's his first mistake.
That's his first mistake. But what me and Algared found was he had actually, but those beeps you can hear in my email, I better close that. Is that he'd chucked in the scythe with Xperia. Now technically speaking, the scythe is Vandal, not Asperia. And because he chucked it in with Asperia, it had the wrong date, and it threw me and Algared completely out almost in guessing these ships.
Yeah, we were looking for this light fighter. It was pre-15.
Yeah.
Or no, around 15. And it wasn't.
So let's show them first what it is, Algared, right? So this is our we can't play again for another 2 hours. Shit, so we'll have to go to unlimited mode, right? So what this is it's basically Wordle for Star Citizen, right? So you put in a ship, like you just put in I always like to do the Gladius.
He does like to do the Gladius.
Because I find it's the middle of the road, because there's a lot of small fighters under $100, but not as many above $100. And I've just found that you know, that's a really good starter, right? So we're above 90, 0 SCU, 2 crew members more than likely, and it's pre-2015. Right, and it's not a light fighter. But it's under 21 meters, so that there's this is pointing me towards unreleased Algared again. Could be mistaken. What do you reckon, Algared? Under 21.
More than 2 people under 21. How long's the Reliant?
It's more than 90. It's more than 90, and it's 0 SCU, so it's
around.
I'd say it's a medium or heavy fighter based on what I'm seeing there. 2 crew.
Hurricane.
Yeah, Hurricane, Super Hornets. Hurricane, Super Hornet's older. Hurricane would be in that ballpark. Yeah, let's go Hurricane. Hurricane. 21 meters. It's less than 21. Oh, that might be the linchpin Algared. I think it's less than. I think it's. Fuck it, we'll try it.
Yeah, I can never remember lengths.
Yep, it's too big. So it's less. So it's less than that, and it's 2 crew. 21 meters. That's a short ass ship. Any suggestions in chat? People saying Scorpius, they reckon.
And Scorpius. I was actually, that was what I was just thinking of, Scorpius,
but it's under 210, so that rules the Scorpius out.
Yeah, so that's Scorpius out. Avenger. Avenger's only 1 person, so it's a 2-person crew, so it's not an Avenger, unless that's wrong.
No, 2-person. 2019 Stalker. No, it's 2 people, guys. Think 2 people. 2 people. Like that really, a 2-person cruise ship really lowers it down. So that means it's like and it's after 28. Oh, that means it's 2019 is when it came out. Because see how 2018's gone yellow. So
okay, and Ursa.
No, because it's above $90, Algared, mate. So that's almost every vehicle in the game other than the Ballista and Spartan are out.
Yeah, and that blows down.
No, it could be a vevehicle though, because it is 2019.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking that in terms of, okay, it's less than that.
So it's after 28. It's 2019 more than likely, guys. So that rules out like all the old ships, like they're all yelling Gladius and Super Hornet. They're all gone. They're done.
Terrapin for length, but that's too early.
And Anvil's out, and Aegis is out.
Banner Defender's too long, I think.
Banner Defender's also too expensive.
Yep.
I'm leaning towards like Ballista and Spartan, believe it or not, because they are lower, but lower than 22 because of the length. They are 2 crew. But they're both Anvil, so that's out as well.
Yep.
Now I mention it, so they're out as well. So it's on Anvil. Ooh, it's tricky. It's a really mind-bending game, and me and Algared sat here for ages on some of them and got them very quickly. Yep. 2018. Yeah, it could be a vulture. It could be a vulture. Could be a vulture. Yep. Vulture's a good one.
Vulture is it 2?
No, it's 1. Technically, a vulture is 1, so that's the only reason I say no to that one.
I'd be interested to know why Tom gets no coffee. Minario.
Hmm.
Just put it in chat because I'm interested to know that.
Because he said ballista and the anvil's on the screen and it says no anvil. But maybe
I thought you were
that's
just being a coffee Nazi and, you can't do that.
why.
Oh, there you go. I've just demonetized us. I said the naughty word.
Yeah. Zero C
No,
you
because
can't be vulture. Yeah, so it really does fall into the combat domain as well. You
Yep.
see how hard it is very quickly. And me and Algared, we actually found that this was really great for speculation because it worked those same muscles. So we were finding it really interesting, weren't we, Algared, when we were doing it?
It certainly made us. It certainly was testing our memory, and so many things come up. And over the years, we've heard things from the old lunchtime stream where they just sit and they're just BS. They just feed BS and they talk about ships and they talk about what was coming and what they were working on and all the rest of it. We've had the 10 for the chairman streams. We've had the old, all the old streams, and they've said stuff, and then things have changed over the years. I can remember when they first had the concept for when they were first talking about the Hull C, and they were talking about one of them could land with as long as it didn't have stuff on the bottom section. And I always, for some reason, I always thought it was a C, and I think you and a few others guys said no, it's a B. But then when they actually came out, and they were selling them, then there was that question, this is it, land. How does it land with stuff on the bottom? Once they did all the views of them. And that changed the whole approach to how so information changes and goes, so.
Algared, just from memory, what's the price of the X85? It's above, is it above 90? I thought it was 90.
No, it's a pissy little.
So the ship we're looking for, because it's yellow there, see how the Gladius is marked as yellow, but it's above? Yellow tends to mean it's really close. So it's probably $95 to $100 ship. Right, so that's what you're looking for. That's your big thing, and then it came out in 2019, and it suits 2 people. Algared, I'm, believe it or not, going where we went yesterday when we got one of these. The Mako Reliant is where I'm going.
Yeah, it could be the Mako Reliant.
I can't see any others.
Or the Misk Reliant, you should say, not the Mako Reliant.
Oh, well, no, it's a Reliant Mako, but whatever. Yeah, is what I meant. I just left them.
I know what you meant. I was just.
Drake Herald's another one that I'm thinking of as well.
Isn't that one person?
No, it's 2 because you got the command console. You've also got 2 beds, Algared, in the Herald.
Oh, okay. That shows how long it's been since I've gone into the.
Yeah, so they're the ones. That's where I'm at the moment. Of suggestions I've seen, I'm letting people suggest it because I want to see what other people come up with. Yeah. Tentacle is clearly Googled it because he's like, it's the Mako. So here against the Mako, and I'm leaning towards the Mako because we had that come up yesterday.
Yep.
And we've noticed this likes to repeat itself. It stuffed me yesterday hardcore because it did the storm storm, and then straight after it did the storm again. It really stuffed with me. So I'm gonna go Mako again, Algared, unless you want to go the other one.
No, I'm fine.
Hey, we have a winner. Done.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah. So we've had a bit of fun with that, and it really tests the muscles. But I think we got 2 2s yesterday, didn't we, Algared? I think we got 2 2s from memory.
Yeah, the Scythe blew us. That ruined our run.
Yeah. So if you're into speculation at all, it is really good way to test your muscles, and don't feel bad about doing it in a group like me and Algared have, because I think that actually helps it. Believe it or not, it helps test that because me and Algared are instantly bouncing back and forward. And it was just like one of those speculation sessions we do. So
it's certainly the way we do speculation when we're talking ideas and kind of arguing points and stuff. This isn't necessarily speculation, but what it does do is it does just hone your skills and certainly help your memory. That's one of the things.
It uses similar muscles, though. You know what I mean? So
it certainly uses those memory muscles and makes you
and try to keep things within logic and things like that, and rule certain things out. So yeah. You want to do one more? Let's do one more. I want to do one more.
All right. While you're setting it up, Tom Van Duren has a question. He says, "Hi guys, thanks for your great content. Oh shucks, golly gosh, gee whiz. Do you think it's a good idea to also get the CCU from an MSR to the Gemini Starfarer for securing the Endeavour? If If it's a CCU to the Gemini that is Warbond that gives you a discount, yes. But
yeah,
all you
that'd be
need,
the only reason. I'd do it.
when you're setting up the only two things you must do when you're setting up a chain: decide what ship I'm starting from, and if you're going a big ship, you clearly want it to have LTI if you can. LTI doesn't mean anything, but hey, if you can get that for Nix, then you go for it.
Yeah.
So pick your starting point, and the really big thing is get that endpoint, that last CCU to the ship you want to go to, and that's it.
I think the other thing I would add to that, though, Algared, is there is a security to having completed chains, because it protects you from price increases. But then every time you add a link, you're breaking links, and you can reconnect them if you wish.
And you're rebuilding them.
Because there's the CCUs that Algared and I have had in the past that go backwards, and they become incredibly valuable. I remember I had a backwards CCU it was a CCU to the Drake Pirate Caterpillar, and it went to the Aquila, which at the time was backwards $15, but it was really valuable because it allowed you to get an LTI Pirate Caterpillar, you know. And I sold that off to someone.
And technically, you're not going, like, if it's money you've already spent, you're technically not going backwards in terms, you're not losing. In a sense, it's not costing you anything more. It's just that one of the ships has gone up in price, and so you're just not leveraging that price to move up. You're just using your CCU to just stay where you were. So it's not really.
All right. While we talk about this, Algared, because this is going to be a lengthy conversation, let's pick a ship. So you pick a ship this time, just to show you how you would do it. Right. So I always go Gladius because I find it really middle of the road. I tried Constellation to start with and found it was too high. So you pick one this time, and you get to see how it's like.
Defender. There you go.
Defender. I think that's too high personally, but
I just go. Oh yeah, that one will do.
Hey, you got 2 greens though, so that's not terrible. 0 SCU again. So technically, guys, we're looking for a fighter. 2 crew, which is interesting. That really limits it down because it's not a light fighter, so that rules out
bigger than 24 meters.
That puts it in Cutlass Spirit freelancer territory. It's after 2019 as well, so that is definitely Cutlass is gone, freelance is gone. I'm Spirit. One of the Spirit variants is where I'm at. I'll let chat work on that while you talk, Algared.
No, I think that reasoning sounds good. So in terms of your CCUs, that's the key thing. So if a CCU from the MSR to a Gemini gives you a Warbond discount, or you've got that little gap left, and you're going, I can finish my chain off, and you're just wanting to buy that with credits then and complete the chain, then but generally once you've got that endpoint, all you do is you just fill in lots of Warbond CCUs to fill up those gaps, or to get those discounts, and then you just fill up any gaps you end up having with credits. That's generally it.
So just really quick, death factor. This is the thing that we found that's very tricky about this. If a ship is not released, it's forward in time. So it could actually be unreleased, and it's after 2019. That's one of the things that makes this very difficult. So the Spirit can be on that list. It is still active because you can have the current year and it'll still show as red because unreleased is not orange. It's green. Which is what I thought they should have done. They should have made it orange when it said unreleased, but they made it green.
The Javelin would be an example, or the Idris, because we don't have them yet, so they're going to show up as in that thing. Although the crew count would give them away. Yeah, they're categorized as newer than current year, as Tentacle. I'm not going to say a full name, but as Tentacle said. So it's under $220. That again is Spirit. I haven't seen anything else that it's above 24.5. Again, that's Spirit, Light Fighter. I just don't know which variant of the Spirit is, and that's the tricky, because it generally, when me and Algared have done, what was that one that really threw us off, Algared? It was the Mark II M7A. Yep. We're like, Super Hornet. No, it was like a specific variant of the Super Hornet. And that's the other thing. Like you've got to get the view that it's the Mustang. It's not just a Mustang. It's got to be the Mustang Alpha.
But you've got to know your ships. You've got to know that rare shit to find it. Like it's a real mindfuck. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I like about it in the terms that it really does stretch, gets you going back and revising and remembering your.
all right, Algared, I'll let you.
Like learning language, you have to know your vocab.
Do you want to pick Spirit? But which one do you want to pick? I'll let you pick.
Spirit.
E1, C1, A1.
The E1.
E1. E1.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick the A1.
All right, we got the right manufacturer, got the right length, so it's definitely. Hey, okay. So it's definitely that. Now you just got to figure out which one it is. It was a shit. No, it's definitely look, it's Crusader. It's exactly the right length, which means it is a variant. It's 100% one of the spirits. It's just which one. Do you want C1 or A1?
C1 or A1? Let's see.
Because it's just a guess at this point. There's no way to point towards it.
Because they're both more expensive than the E1, aren't they?
Well, it says above $150. Well, actually, I can tell you which one it is.
The A1.
It is the A1 because it's more than. So yeah, it's the A1. Yep. Dang, right on the money. All right, we'll do one more. We'll do one more while we're talking.
While you're doing that, well, the next question.
Well, wait, hang on. Let me do the Gladius first, so they can start. They can start guessing. Oh, okay. So it's 2 crew. That's all we've got. All right, go Algared. Next question.
All right. So Learner Maria says, in response to your, I can't see the chat. How can I ask? And their question was, how can I ask questions? That's okay. Because once the bot's up, it doesn't matter whether Execute can see the questions or not on our screen, because
he reads them for me.
Bot drags them out of our Discord. So.
But we can see the
out of Twitch and YouTube and chucks them into our Discord.
So I don't know if you know, like we did have this problem with chat. I know you guys can't see this, Algared, right? So this is the chat thing that keeps stuffing up. But I found a way to update the chat while we're live now, so I can fix it every time. So it's all good. I found that.
That's okay. I've got the chat up on. I've got the YouTube chat on the one side, and I've got the questions popping up on the other. So, when you see me doing this, because I'm checking the chat and the questions. So, there you go.
Man, I think we're back. I think we're back to another Mako ship. Looking at what's up there, under $90. It does have cargo though. So, oh no, that makes it on a. It's under. Oh, it's probably the one of the Aurora Mustangs, Algared. It's after 2015 though, so it's a new one. It's a cutter.
More than one crew.
The cutter's in there.
More than one crew. It's not any of the Auroras or Mustangs. It's more than one crew.
Got to be a Reliant then.
Has to be a Reliant.
It has to be.
Oh, it could be. No, it couldn't be the.
With 2 crew under $100, it's got to be the Reliant.
I was originally thinking, it could be the Hornet with the cargo pod attached, but that is a one-person.
It's the Reliant core. There's nothing else that it can be, really. Surely. If I'm wrong, no, I'm fucking wrong.
There you go. You're wrong. But 2 crews, right?
Oh, so it's in 2017. What the shit came out in 2017?
Oh, I don't know.
And it's lower than 70. Oh, it's a vehicle, Algared. It's got to be a vehicle. It's anything it can be. Because all the ships have ruled out. 6 SCU. It's lower than 6 SCU. Yeah, that makes it a vehicle. But it's higher than 0. So it's and it's after it's in 2017.
Lower than 75. Ursa rover.
Ursa came out before 2016 though, Algared.
Did we get it before 2016?
That's a good question. It's not a ship, it's a vehicle, guys. We can tell you that right now.
Well,
it's under 6. But it's above 0.
Ursa's what, 4?
Well, Ursa's technically more than 2 crew because you can have 2 at the front and 2 or 3 in the back.
Well, you can have a total of 4 in the back, I think. I could be wrong, but hey.
G12's not a bad guess. G12's a good one.
That 2 passengers, was it? Or
yep.
Driver and passenger.
Yep. I just don't remember the quite SCU count. I think it's only like 1 SCU or something like that. But that's all.
I think it was less than the Ursa. Or it may have been the same as the Ursa, but it sucked because it didn't have ability to take passengers in the back either. So.
The Ursa was way earlier than 2016 in my book. It came out with the Constellation almost. It's been in the game for ages.
It's been announced. It didn't come out. We didn't get the Ursa until really late as a vehicle. We didn't get it, at the same. Didn't get the vehicle.
No, because they had that presentation where it landed on the planet, and that was before Pubertal Planet. Pubertal Planet was.
Yeah, that's true. Pubertal Planet is fairly late, so.
G12 is what I'm thinking. Or Cyclone.
And you've got it's still.
You can see very quickly how me and
Future.
Algared get sucked up into this because it's a little puzzle. Our brain just sucks up. Yeah. G12. We're gonna have to take a guess, Algared, because we don't have enough
Go
info.
G12.
Gonna go G12. All right.
Yep. And while that's coming up.
Okay, it's not
Nope.
G12, so therefore it's a cyclone. 2 SCU. Shit. I don't know the cyclone. Any of the cyclones take to SCU?
The bikes.
No, the bikes don't. The biggest cargo carrier for that takes 1 SCU, and that's the Ranger. Jeez.
So David Watson has a question. Why
Yeah, go
you're
for it.
noting that out, and he says, "Will jump points between star systems be loading screens?" Possibly.
So that what was the question again? Sorry, I got to miss it.
Will jump points between systems be loading screens?
No, they're streamed loading screens essentially.
Yeah. So it's a bit like when you do a quantum jump. Effectively, even though you're moving through that area, that you're loading the next room as you're traveling if you need to. It's, as I understand it. Certainly that was the way it was going to be years ago, until Pupil to Planet came along, and then it just totally changed everything.
Algared, what was the cheapest? No, the blister wouldn't have been 2017. Shit. Technically, the G12 is not released. That man. All right, I'll leave you guys to stew on that one for a minute.
Yep.
It's a vehicle, though. You can tell that much. It's definitely a vehicle.
So loading screens.
Yep.
Basically,
essentially, the way the jump point's going to work is they're going to stream out the system behind you, so that all of Stanton will disappear as an example, and then as you fly into Pyro, it'll be loading Pyro on the other side.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same technique as you essentially go from planet to planet. It's the same thing. You're streaming out Hurston and streaming in, or loading in.
So good. I did recall it correctly. But originally, when we were doing the original landing zones, it was going to be basically that type of thing. But it was, you were on rails as you landed, and while you were going down, it was going to be loading that next area. So there are loading screens. It's just you don't see them. So yeah.
Dragonfly, people saying that Dragonfly does 1 SCU. My memory was it does half a CCU, but they're in 2 quarter SCU containers. Is what I remember. But
I thought it was one, could do one because it could do a box mission, but
yeah, but that was split.
But I'm I can always be wrong.
That's a really tough one. That's mentally playing with my head.
Okay, so another question from David Watson, and David Watson says, "Or do you think they will physicalize the entire trip?" So I think we just answered that. So it's basically stream out, stream in. But will you still be able to walk around your ship? Absolutely, because it's just going to be like planet to planet. Although your pilot probably doesn't want to get out of his seat if you're going through the jump point for the first time.
All right, just real quick. With this, people are hung up on the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly's out because it says 2 SCU in green. So Dragonfly's gone. Dragonfly's
so even if a Dragonfly can do one, it's out.
Go check up on the Ursa, guys, because I think Algared might be right. Or just it's worth checking. It's whatever carries 2 SCU. And it's
you already tried the G12.
Well, and it's also under $60, and G12 is the cheapest. So and it's also Origin, so Origin's out.
And RSI, the Ursa is 55, so that fits with the others, and it's RSI, so it's different manufacturer. But
yeah, just when it came into the game. Lynx only came in last year, so it's not the Lynx. And when it's orange like that, it usually means it's one away. Like, can you see how in the very first one when we did the Gladius and it was orange, and then when it went green for crew, it went to 2? That usually means it's one away. So more than likely it came out in 2017. It's a vehicle that came out in 2017.
What's the release date in that last one saying?
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's more than likely 2017 it came out, 2 crew and 2 SCU. Right?
Yeah, but what's the box say? I can't read it.
Unreleased.
Right.
Yep. So long story short, the information that we have that will be validated is 2 crew, 2017, 2 SCU, and by process of elimination, it is not a ship. So it's a vehicle with 2 SCU, 2 crew, 2017. You got that information, go Google it. It's not a mule. Mule came in the game last year, so that's too late.
Storm Shadow tank there. Not the Storm Shadow, just the Storm tank. There you go. That's my potshot guess, but it's got 2 SUs, so that would be probably wrong.
Oh, apparently, so they do say it's the Ursa. Okay, all right, we'll try the Ursa then. Let's have a look. Ah, you got it, Algared. Good job. Right on the money.
All right, North End Trooper has a question.
I will do another one of these while
while you're filling in time.
Yeah.
Okay, so North End Trooper. Now, make sure you're paying attention, because otherwise,
Yep, listening.
I've got to repeat the question again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so North End Trooper has a question. He says, or they say, what are your thoughts with the new hotfix channel as a semi-PTU for live updates?
Hotfix channel for semi-PTU updates. I think that's just a way for them to communicate with people. And people that are active will go there to talk to people and get things fixed. It's always a good thing. Like I don't normally go to CIG with bugs and stuff, but I had a bug in the PTU that followed me to live, so I actually contacted Concierge and they put me through to one of the QA testers called Luco, and I made him a small little 1-minute video and sent it to him. And it turns out I had a workaround that they didn't have, and so it allowed them. This bug had been a very small number of people, and a lot of people hadn't reported it because they assumed it was a PTU bug and it was going to be fixed when it went to live. But when it followed people, it also started for lots of other people, and it's an account bound bug. So because it went from PTU to live, it had to be your account, because those two are not connected. And because I had a fix, they were able to deploy that fix to other people, or I had a workaround, they were able to tell other people to work around, because no one else had figured it out. And all it was add somebody to your friends list and join off your friends list. Because the other thing is it wipes your friends list every time you join. The only fix prior to that on the PTU was to re-upload your PTU every time, but I couldn't get in. So every time I joined the PTU, I had to add someone to my friends list and then join them. And so in the end, when it goes to live, you obviously don't want to, fix your character or wipe your stuff, because you lose shit. So it was just easier to, the only downside is I can't often play on an Australian server, because if I'm playing at 4 o'clock in the morning, no other Aussies are awake. But that was the fix.
Because most of it are actually sleeping, because we're normal.
Yes. Startle is very much drug.
Yes, and you've got to stop, because if you don't stop, we run out of questions. And then we finish the show, because
Yeah. All right. We'll do this last one, and then we'll take a break. All right. Under 21 meters, not a light fighter. Under $90. 0 SCU, 2 crew count. It could be a vehicle again. The way we would do that again is we just do the Reliant again, but it's after 2015, so the Reliant is still in there.
Do the Ursa again, just in case they're screwing with us.
They did that too. They have done that before. No, I'm going to do the Reliant, because then it means it's not a ship. What is it? Under $90, so I'll do the core. It's not a Reliant, so therefore it means it is a vehicle. It is 2 crew. So go at it again, guys. It's the same thing we just did. We can do the Ursa again if you want, Algared. It is just a guess. It is after. Wait, it's not the Ursa though, because 2016 is now dark, so it's not the Ursa. So it's another vehicle. Could be the Rock DS. Could be the G12. Let's go the G12 this time, Algared. Oh, G12's unreleased, but yeah, that does fall into it. G12.
I'd have gone the Rock DS.
It's more. So it's not. It's not
more than 100.
Yeah. So it's more. It's more than 60, but it's close to 60. So it's either 65 or 70.
Could still be a Rock DS.
And it's not 70. No, it's 60. It's exactly $65, because this is 75 and it's red. So it's exactly $65. 2 crew. It's a Cyclone more than likely, I reckon.
And less than 1 SCU, or less than 2 SCU. Try Drake.
It's exactly. It's exactly 0 SCU. So it's one of the Cyclone variants that's not the default, is what I'm reading. Wait, is the Cyclone shorter or longer than the G12? The G12 is wider, isn't it? But shorter.
I remember the G12 is wider than an Ursa, and it's almost the same for, as long. It's almost as long and it's wider than an Ursa. It's like unbelievable.
It can't be the C8R. Someone's saying C8R in chat. C8R is technically 3 crew, so it rules that out. It's got to be a Cyclone, but it's not the default. So let's go something ambiguous like the
Mustang Better's not 2 crew, Tom. Mustang Better's just 1.
It's not Tumbrel. Shit, I was wrong. Oh, there you go. It's after 2021, so it is a fairly new thing. So it's 2022. 2022, $65. The fuck came out last year that was 20. Came out last year that was $65. Is that the? No, it's not the Mule, because the Mule is only 1 crew. The vehicle that came out last year.
It's 2 crew.
Even well, okay, let's just change it back to a ship. What came out last year for $65 that holds 2 people?
I can't recall. The only ship I can remember was the Cutter, because that was such a lovely little ship, and it's only 1. Lynx.
Oh yes. No, it can't be the Lynx because Origin is out.
Lynx is not Origin. Lynx is RSI.
Ah, motherfucker. It is too. I'm thinking luxury. Nope, not the Lynx. Fuck. Jesus. All right, this one's got me stumped. Oh, the price is wrong too. Yeah, it's 100% 2022. Because look, Lynx came out this year, not last year. Oh dear.
C8R. So got more responses for the C8R and the Cutter. I don't think it's the Cutter because it's 2 crew.
C8R is 2 crew. It is $65. It is 0. Yeah, I'm okay. C8R. Yeah, it's C8R. It is.
Yep.
It is. I think they're correct.
It's 60.
I think they're correct. There we go. Good job, guys.
Yeah, they'd probably already solved it. That's why I knew.
Well, they Googled it.
They'd solved it. That's why I was saying, I told you it was this one.
Yeah.
Listen to us next time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wasn't the C8X though? Oh, Technical Love did say C8R ages ago. I just saw C8X. I went 3 crew. But yeah, he's right. It was C8R.
All right. So Tom Andoran says, I read somewhere that that CIG will use the new prices for buybacks. Did you guys have this info also? Yes.
Yes.
So down the track,
It's
if you've got stuff in buyback.
Been the case for like 2-3 years now, isn't it? It hasn't really changed. Yeah.
Yep. Certainly, it used to be years ago. The first change they did was CCUs would change, so that's why you keep your CCUs in your hangar if you don't want them to change, and that's why you can sometimes get old CCUs that will go backwards or stuff. If you're in your buyback, they will update to the new price. Ships didn't used to do that. They said going forward they were going to do that. And really, what's wrong with it? What's the problem with them changing it so that stuff in buyback increases in price? You have sold it and said, I don't want that. That's why it's in buyback. Is it stopping you from getting the ship if you want it? No, you can still get that limited ship or whatever you've got in buyback. You're just going to pay the premium price now.
Get that CCU to lock in that old price. Like last year's Galaxy, that was our recommendation, wasn't it, Algared? If you're not sure, it's $5 and you lock it in. $5 is man, you barely get a coffee for that these days. You know,
yep, $4.50 for a large coffee, large flat white. So yeah, if you're ever not sure if you're going to get good coffee or not, where you go, get a flat white, because what happens is the milk will actually take off the edge of any bitterness or sourness in your coffee. So, yeah, you know you got good coffee.
When's that YouTube channel coming? After Algared's Coffee Fantasies.
Coffee with Al.
Yeah.
I'll try and do it. You know, Coffee with Al, and do a really bad flag at the back saying Coffee with Al. Yes, channeling Big Bang Theory.
So the only real ship that you and I haven't actually worked out for this year's CitizenCon, Algared, is the big one. That's the only one we haven't kind of worked out now. Which will be a concept more than likely, yeah, like every year. And it's usually the hardest one for us to work out. So we'll see. But we'll see how that's going to go.
And I can see Sparkplug is a coffee connoisseur. Because he says, yeah, preach Al. Unless he's saying preach AI. You know, but,
saying the
but
gospel of the flat white. That's what he said. So, yeah. Right. Next question.
No, actually, the flat white's only what you do when you're going out because you can't guarantee you're going to get good coffee. Or the barista's going to be any good. If you want really good coffee, go for a geisha. Oh, that stuff. That is.
So Lemming's saying RSI Miner is the large ship. Is it? I'm hoping that that's the concept this year. They sell a concept of the RSI Miner, but we have no information on it at all. We do have information on other stuff. And there are a few people that are suspecting the Zeus is the largest ship. But as me and Algared said yesterday, we snuck in an episode that we recorded that will release this weekend.
And we've got reasons for why we don't think it's.
And we ran it past. We ran it past several people that we trust. Lemming, we'll talk with you later because you're a mod, obviously. So we'll tell you, show what we've got. Or hell, I'll just link you the episode, and you can watch it ahead of time. Yeah. There's several things that point to it being a medium, not a large. And we're assuming the people that we talked to that gave us the information have speculated that it's a large. But once you ran it through a few people that are in know stuff like we know, it became very evident very quickly that it is highly unlikely. We'll put it this way: there's never been a large ship that's gone straight to flyable. That alone tells you, like and the biggest ship that's ever gone straight to flyable was
I wouldn't say that alone tells you.
Let me finish. The biggest ship that's ever gone straight to flight was the Mole.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that just because if it's a large ship that tells you it won't be. What it does is it tells you it's unlikely to be, because you never say never.
Yeah, you never say never, but again, you got to go with trends and
but previously we've never seen that, so you start to lean towards the other side. So yeah,
and there's other information that points to it not being a large as well, and we go through that in the video. So right, next question please, Algared.
Next question. Death factor during jumps, they said you can fail. Yes. They did say what did they say what happens when you fail? You could get destroyed. You could fall out to random space somewhere. Yeah, so that's generally it.
Is it the one thing with that they've never said is like when you fall out, can you just jump back in?
Yeah.
Or do you have to sit there for half an hour and like sail all the way back to where you started?
Well, the other thing is if you fall out and your ship gets damaged, or your quantum drive or your jump drive gets damaged, and you're in the middle of space somewhere, that means you've got to actually put out a beacon and
someone's got to actually fly an hour out
to you to get you, and so it's so lots of problems, but yes. So we've got some ideas. I think they haven't actually said what exactly will happen to you. They've kind of speculated options that will happen to you, and I think that's because they haven't worked out what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's another little area we'll have to wait for and see as time goes by.
Watch this space. Basically it's just. Niccolo Ferro says last year we saw notable outrage at RSI Galaxy with more concepts and pushing back the backlog. Yes, we did. I didn't care about it. It didn't bother me.
No.
To me.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, to me, more ships are better. They'll work through the ships as they come. Adding a new ship doesn't really change stuff. I think something like the Galaxy really just helped them as they zeroed in and said, okay, we're looking at moving towards modularity. I think the big thing that's actually pushed the backlog back or made the larger ships backlog worse is the fact that they're now retraining up shipbuilders and stuff, and also the finishing up a squadron. I think they're the two big things that really push that backlog and influence that backlog. So.
We always knew that bigger ships were going to take longer to do, and we always calculated that they were going to have wasn't going to be until they built out the actual Star Citizen team, because most of the team right now work on Squadron 42, but now you're starting to see like Montreal and Frankfurt build out ship teams, and as they build out, that's what they're going to start working on first, those bigger ships, So and we speculated at the end of last year that if you actually look at RSI, there's like 5 ships from RSI, so they can build them all out at the same time. So things like the Galaxy is probably going to come sooner rather than later, actually, comparable to other big ships. So like, think of one, the Pioneer. The Pioneer does, like, Consolidated Outland does not really have a flushed out theme or manufacturer as other, ones that are done. What do we got? The Nomad is the only one we've got with an interior, right? And then we've got a concept on the Pioneer, and I guess the Mustang's got an interior as well. The Mustang Beta's got a little interior, but you see where I'm going, like comparable to say, pick another manufacturer, Crusader. Like there's got way more interiors for some of those things. So you can almost tell how long a ship's going to take by how flushed out its manufacturer is at this point. Or I don't know, you tell me if you think different.
And that often used to be the reason why we used to see so many Anvil or ships, because they had more stuff for it. So
ages. Yeah.
No, I always get those two mixed up, always, because Anvil, Aegis.
And how many times have you
similar things, and they sound the same?
And we'd say that all the time. Go, why isn't this an Anvil ship? Because it looks, and they'd often say, and then later they'd come back and say, oh, it started out as this, and then it moved to this. The Terrapin started out as an Aegis, and it moved to. It was like, if you go back and look at you remember when the Dragonfly? What was that vote? They had the Dragonfly, they had the Terrapin, and they had a bunch of other ships in this vote. Do you remember that, Algared? And it was originally an Aegis ship, and the Terrapin changed to Anvil. And when the Vulcan dropped, we said the same thing, didn't we? We said, why isn't that an Anvil? It looked way more Anvil. Anvil than Aegis. But it stayed Aegis. So,
look, I think it's the same thing with the Carter. We've talked about that. It seems to have more design language
with Aegis,
Aegis than it does with Drake, and even in the descriptions, it's the most un-Drake ship they've ever done.
Yep. The armor, undergunned. It's the opposite.
Undergunned. It's the complete opposite of their philosophy, and so.
We talked about the Nomad too when that came out. Like that's the most unknown. I'm starting to see that it is a thing to do with Consolidated Outland. They do have tech from the Cyan, and it wasn't until I went back and looked at pictures of the Pioneer's engine room, Algared. Remember I linked those to you and said, look at this. And it's like, holy shit, you start to see the Consolidated Outland in a whole new light. It is the alien tech is a part of that Tesla thing. But the thing that really annoys me and Algared to this day, and I'm sure it might annoy some of you older guys as well that have been around, is they redid the entire Mustang to get rid of the fact that it lands on its wings. And then the very next ship that comes out from them is the Nomad that lands on hover wings. Like, we can't make this stuff up.
Wasn't the very next ship actually the Defender?
No, the very next ship from Consolidated Outland.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But when they brought out when they changed the Mustang so that it didn't land on the skids and the wings.
Oh, the Defender.
And they put the landing gear in because we don't want that magical landing gear appearing. And the very next ship, you had the magical landing gear still. And
with the Defender,
And it was like, what the heck? Yeah, you're full of it.
Yeah.
But I hate that change to it. For me personally, I hate that change for Mustang. I liked the idea.
Such a cool style and simplistic approach. I honestly hope when they go back and do a gold past on that thing, they go back to the older design, because it was just something cool about it, something very manual, something very simple, and it worked. Why can't you just land on the wings? And why can't they be a part of the legs? And it works so well. I loved it.
I like the idea that if you'd made it so it actually kind of skidded like the very first German jet fighters, where it's skidded on the middle, and then the wings were just either the stabilizer.
I have to read what Kazam just said. Worst change to the Mustang is the Mustang Beta prison cell.
Yes, people hate that, but yeah, I wish it kind of kept that skid landing, because it just had that. It was unique. It was different, and that's what you want. If everything's got wheels or proper landing padding, I'd say what. But that was. You didn't deploy it. You just get in.
It was the personality of that ship, and it ripped it. It's almost like it ripped the soul out of the ship in a way.
Ripped its heart out.
Yeah.
Ripped its still beating heart and tossed it into the gutter. Yes. And then ripped its guts out and shoved in a prison cell for the Beta. Yep, absolutely. So,
All right, next question.
not that I'm biased anywhere, but yeah.
Well, Algared, like when we come back to these smaller ships, and because these are ships that we don't recommend people buy usually, right?
Yep.
But when we come back to them and critique them, we're honest. Our Fury review this week, the Cutter, there's many ships in there that we love because of their personality, and the Mustang was one of them. And it's what really defined that Mustang over the Aurora. And right now, it's dropped. Like, honestly, you go back and for me, once they removed that personality, for me, it was kind of like equal or above the Aurora. Now they've removed it. It's just...
And like, we had the Aurora with landing pads. We had, when they came out, the Aurora with landing pads. We had the Mustang with skids. And then the next one that came out that was kind of in that ballpark was kind of that, the Arrow had the wheels. And so you had all three types.
Yeah.
Now you got them the same. And remember when the Arrow first came out?
Yeah, I remember.
And we took the Aurora, I think, was it the Aurora, the Mustang, or was it the Gladius and the Mustang?
I think we had 4 of them. We had there's a video there somewhere around when we did it, but yeah.
And we took all 3 out, and the thing that blew all of us away, I think it was you, me, and Dyson were doing it. Design were doing it. And the thing that blew us away when we put them together was how minuscule the Arrow was compared to the other 2, and it was like, that just
nice and compact and small, and
I still think the Arrow is really a snub. It
feels like a snub.
It feels like a snub. It's a snub fighter which is upgraded. And when you look at the C8X and the 85X, which were originally snubs but now have quantum drive and jump drive, and you compare it to the Arrow, it's basically the same thing. So
I'm just reading Mactan's SC's comment there on Twitch where it says, "Let people suffer landing gear without landing gear," and I think that's probably why they removed it, was because every other ship has landing gear, and so rather than building a bespoke system for this one ship, they just brought it in line with everything else. It makes sense, like it really does, and they didn't want to have to write loads of code for something bespoke. That's why it was changed. I can see why they did it, but it would have been cool. Well, look at it this way. Why couldn't that tech come in for every ship in some kind of fashion? What I mean by this is, what if your landing gear is broken?
Then you can belly flop.
Then you can belly flop land, can't you? There's some kind of code there for landing on your wings.
Yep.
See where I'm going?
Or scraping in on your hull. So
yeah,
I think there's a valid reason for having it. But,
and you could, put some of, I don't know how to word this, but some kind of armor value for the wings for landing purposes. Like the speed that you come in and things like that should be a factor of it. And if your ship is built around supporting that, that would mean it's kind of like a redundancy where some ships, if your landing gear is stuffed, you've got a better chance of surviving,
And it just means that, as you're landing, every time you land in a Mustang like that, yes, you're going to have some repair because you've done some damage to your ship.
Well, we know we know that's coming, don't we, Algared? They've talked about that in the past, like that, like you were talking about with the Defender, with that, you used to have in the Constellation too, when the engine come off and you just have the landing gear sitting there.
Yep.
That's all going to change because, like, eventually, if that happens, when you come in, your ship is going to go klapunk. Like, you're going to have to take that hit when you land.
Yep. And that was one of the things, like, I got the impression they wanted to get rid of. And the other thing was, because you're landing on the wings, if you lost the wing, the ship would sit straight, even though it didn't have it. And that's why I always thought landing on the mid hull section, and then the wings just stabilizing would have worked. So, but yeah. And Luminalia, thank you for that super chat. Your question with that super chat is,
Algared, do you see screen? You seeing my screen?
I am seeing your screen.
Can you read that?
You mean the holy?
No, this.
No, I can't see it.
Okay, it's a reply from Paul. Anyway, I'll tell you about it. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, Luminalia.
So, Luminalia's question with their super chat, which is definitely appreciated because that's 2 coffees. Actually, it's probably more than 2 coffees because it's more than the Australian dollar.
It's 2 coffees and two coffees and 2 marshmallows.
Yeah, probably. Although that would go hot chocolate. Anyway, with everything they accomplished with Hull C, like expanding the car and cargo, Do you think the technology will make development of the Endeavour easier? I think the Hull C was a huge step.
Everything is a step onto the thing after it.
We have speculated that.
Yeah.
What we do know is I can remember them saying when they solved that, the expanding telescoping part of the Hull C, that actually solved docking collars for them. So the docking collars we've got for large ships, that was part of that.
Also modularity. So the Hull C opened quite a lot of doors, quite honestly. And you can almost we've talked about how the Endeavour's right at the end, but think of all the ships in between as well. Like one of the ones that's been around for a really long time is the Caterpillar. That thing's got a lot of moving parts as well. It's got those doors that come out and go down. It's got and as modularities go, right? So you can almost see why they made the Galaxy. It is one module that comes out and is replaced. The Caterpillar is the next one along in complexity because you've got 4 modules that can go in any random order.
Yep. And that's
with the doors, so that you've got these complex doors and elevators that come off it. Yeah. So the Caterpillar is probably more closer to the
Endeavour for complexity.
But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And that's why I honestly don't, as much as I'd love to see modularity come in and be usable on the Caterpillar, I don't expect we'll see that until late, just for the same reason as the Endeavour. And I'm glad, can you imagine how much of a nightmare it would have been if the Caterpillar was still, the length of it could be adjusted by how many modules
that
you
was
got?
Funny.
Because that would have been every single variant.
All the memes
would have been a new ship.
So back in the day, just so people are aware, they were talking about it being, you could make it as long as or short as you want. And they very quickly realized that would affect the central mass and things like that and the Newtonian physics of how the ships operated. So they had to say, it's 4, it can't be less, it can't be more, that's it. So it's 4 and then the nose one, so 5. But
but it would have been an absolute nightmare. And even if it can be up to 4, and if you could still reduce that size, everyone, you'd have had a new ship for one that only has the nose cone. You'd have had one that has just one. You'd have had another ship, and each of those variants would have been a brand new ship.
That is another ship though that's going to be interesting to see because it's got all these little techs in it, and as time goes by, more and more tech on that Caterpillar will come in. So we've got tractor beams coming. Yeah, there's a few ships. I think that's the part we're getting into this part of the game now, where as more and more tech comes in for SC. This is the part of the game I'm enjoying, like just seeing the gameplay kind of unfold like this beautiful flower.
And then as the tech for tractor beams started to come online, and they were redo at the same time as they were redoing the Taurus. What happens to that bottom turret? Oh, it becomes tractor beam turret, and so you actually see them starting to tie that tech into other things where it makes sense. So, do I think the Hull C helps the Endeavour? Well, everything does. But the other thing is, like that tech with the expanding corridors help them do docking collars. That then helped them do the docking of the P-52 and refueling because it was basically the same tech. And so all the time, it may not look like it, but time and time again, you just see that.
It's almost like a ricochet
reuse.
Effect.
Yeah. So you just see that happening all the time. So yes, in short answer to that question. Going back up to the questions. So, Michael Bruce. I upgraded to the A1 concept you poor thing, and then melted it a couple of months later. Smartly. So not available to buy back. It's unfortunately. Do you think it's going to go up in price for release? Like everything goes up in price.
Everything goes up, right? Look, if you really want the A1 back. I'm sure you can probably get it for a couple of dollars more than you paid for it on the grey market. Just make sure you use PayPal and make sure and try and use someone that you trust. Get a friend. If you're really desperate, we can probably put you in contact with people. But at the end of the day, what's the price on that? $175. Probably gonna go what $20. What, $195, $200, somewhere there. So you're not going to pay that much more anyway for it because of its price range. So is it worth all the extra hassle? I leave that up to you.
And look for Warbond CCUs.
Yep.
If it's a Warbond CCU,
that's a really good point. You'll probably usually when ships come out on the day they come out, you can usually get a Warbond CCU with the discount of that original price, like a last chance to buy at the original price, don't they? They've done that several times.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll probably find when it comes out in the day, you'll be able to buy it for the original price. They've done that, as long as you pay Warbond, you know.
And even if they don't, and you buy a Warbond CCU,
yeah,
if you then CC up from a cheaper ship, you're likely going to get it for cheaper than the original price anyway.
He's not wrong. Just use Warbond CCUs. He's not wrong at all. Yeah, and you could even do the old referral trick and get a Gladius for free, and then upgrade from that. You know, so you get it for half price. So
yeah, well, I did that with my Perseus. I used my Gladius referral ship.
I think I did that
was $90 off straight away.
I think I did that with my Starfarer. Mercury. My Mercury, I did that with. I got a Gladius.
You know, so and yeah, people say, oh, but it's a $0 ship. You can't melt it.
So, just be certain you know what you want.
Yeah.
Alternative, you know, and there's no reason you can't shuffle stuff around. So, for example, you 100% know you want an Orion. There's no reason you can't move your chains around to accommodate that Gladius. Again, laying things in chains. The only positive we have right now for solidifying ships is naming. And let's be honest, naming is now a clusterfuck. Chances are you're not going to get the name you want anyway. Like, that's just the way things have gone now. Because they've made it so every name's got to be unique. Roll the dice, man. The chances are you are not going to get that. You are not going to get the name Enterprise like you wanted, like before. It's the game has changed. So you take that into account. There's almost no reason to keep a concept ship anymore. It's just not worth it. It costs too much on every metric.
Basically you've got go for discount. Buy your cheap starter ship or your cheap LTI token and just CCU chain up to what you want and have that 5 goal, you know, that you're aiming for. Over time, you will get that cheaper than probably anything you can find. Why buy the ships or the concept ships? It's just ease of less hassle. I don't have to worry about doing the chain, but I'm going to pay more for convenience.
I don't know about you,
convenience versus saving.
Yeah, I haven't brought an original concept in a while now. I just pick up a CCU to one and kind of sit on it. Real quickly, speaking of CCUs, Del Kenobi says, this is the first time chatter on Twitch says, time to plug the Inforunners playlist on CCUs. Yes, absolutely. If you want to know more about CCUs, we've got a whole playlist on guides. Every sale we've ever done has got the CCU guide for that particular sale. Go absolutely crazy. The video I'm always proudest of that I think I've ever done on the channel is the one where I actually build out that Scorpius Algared, because no one's ever done it. Like you have to have balls of steel these days to actually show people how to apply CCUs, and they've never done it. I actually even at one point I contacted CIG and just said, can I have an account that's just got every CCU on it so I can build it out, show people how it's done? They're like, oh, we just don't have accounts like that. We just don't. Like they only have things set up to give people ships and stuff. They don't have a way to just have CCUs. So they need to do that. They need to do a tutorial series on CCUs themselves.
And we'll try. I think we've tried to do CCU, at least go for a CCU chain every sale of what you can get. But we probably, you know, ideally building a ship every sale would be a great thing. But it means you've got to put money or credits in, and that becomes expensive, or can become expensive. The other thing with using a referral ship, because when I did the referral ship, I was contacted CIG and said, hey, it's got $0 value. I've upgraded it, still got $0 value. They said, yeah, that's just a referral ship. If you ever decide you don't want it, just let us know. We can actually reverse it all. So, but I don't intend to do it. I was just, hey, I'm just concerned here because I've not seen the value that I've added going up. And they said, yeah, it's there.
Thank you for the Prime subscription, Tripole. I hope you're doing well, man. Tripole is the guy from Predator Mounts, if you guys are unaware. Working his ass off day and night down there in Louisiana. Yeah, hope you're doing well, mate. I'll have to catch up with you again soon.
Now, I do believe, since you've mentioned Predator Mounts, I do believe Predator Mounts are actually sponsoring the Scarlet Apex this year.
They are.
And
subtle plug.
Yeah, hey, look, I'll do the subtle plug for both Predator Mounts and Scarlet Apex, because you know I'm a racer at heart, or an organizer at heart. And so there will be a set of Predator Mounts available for each winning team to go to whichever member they like. Check out the Scarlet Apex at cruxcup.com or Anzio Racing. I think you can find it there.
I do believe Expat Brat's still going to be involved with that too. Yeah,
Expat Brat is going to be going to be commentating, and Croncy. So it's the Hearts and Minds. Advocacy have decided they need to win the Hearts and Minds of Stanton, and so Scarlet Apex up near being held up near Grimhex. Live fire race. So distortion weapons only. And we do have an SCIG team, the Cloud Imperium Gamers team, in a Hammerhead. So a team flying the Hammerhead on that race
with distortion guns. Yes.
I do believe
shoot themselves in the foot.
I do believe there's about 6 to 7 Hammerheads already booked up. I think that class is full. So there'll be a race with Hammerheads.
I'm very much liking to see that going into an asteroid. Just the it'd be like watching do you remember the old what's that old movie, Austin Powers with the steamroller? Just slow-mo into an asteroid. Yeah.
And then the others are teams of 2, so either you're in a Hurricane or a turreted ship, so a turreted 2-man ship, or your 2 single-man pirate fighters.
Definitely puts a spin on the whole racing genre too, because all of a sudden you don't need to be a racer to compete. You can be the turret gunner, So
that's right. You can be the turret gunner. You can be the First Scarlet Apex was last year. This is the second one. Nice pile of prizes there. There's Furies. There's
I want to be like a Tusken Raider pirate on the edge, just shooting people as they go past. I want that. I want to be that guy.
You want to be with a distortion cannon sitting on the asteroid.
I should go ask Croncy and Expat if I could be like the on-ground reporter, but I'm trying to pick ships out of the skies. Man, these guys are too quick. I just can't take them out. It's pissing me off. Why won't they crash and die?
that would be on Croncy's channel, I believe.
Yeah.
I think he's the pirate announcer.
Oh, okay.
Evil, nasty pirates. Yeah. Trying to claim that you cannot capture our hearts, that type
of but then I can go on expats and put on like my good, man, I'm out here trying to stop these pirates, and then next minute, they won't die!
My question for you there, Execute, is why is your good guy, just sounding like Keanu Reeves when he's doing...
It's empathy. You got to put it on the end.
No, it sounds like Keanu Reeves doing, oh man, I'm so high. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Having a great time out here.
Yeah, you sound like the announcer from the drugged out guy. Was it at Levski? The old air traffic control guy.
Yeah.
So
it's been a while.
And Adam W has a $20 super chat. So thank you for that. That's 4 coffees. Awesome.
I could probably do. I was gonna say I could probably do like a Clark Kent thing over it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, no one would know it was you.
No, not at all.
And I'm Robin75 has also chucked in a $20 super chat, which is even.
Don't need all this money, guys, but appreciate it though.
Yeah, you don't never need to do a super chat. It is always appreciated and blows it away. But Adam W did have a super chat question, and I suppose if you want your question answered right there and then, that's one way to do it, because we do it, but you never need to. We try and get through every question.
All right, well, I'll read it. So Adam,
you read that, so you do something else.
Yeah, so Adam W says, first, I love your content, but what are you guys' thoughts on the deployment of 320? A lot of the community seems to be super negative on SC lately, which might be just frustration with 318 this year. Thoughts? Yeah, okay, so straight off the bat, elephant in the room. This year was quiet as shit. It was one of the quietest years on record, right? But that's one of the reasons. What do you do as a content creator? What do you do as someone that's really into this game? You go ask why, and it's really obvious. It's Squadron 42, 2 years at CitizenCon. So this is all good news, right? And the way me and Algared look at it was, would you rather 1 quiet year with nothing, or 3 years of kind of medium updates to pad and stretch out how long Squadron? I'm one of those Band-Aid people. Pull that shit off. I will take the 1 year of quiet to get this thing out the door and into, I'm kind of, a lot of people are kind of over Squadron 42 before it even got here. You hear that a lot, don't we, Aaron? Me and you, right? So he's nodding, by the way, for those that are listening.
I am nodding. I am nodding.
And so long story short, and Agri will tell you the same, is that if we've got to put up with a quiet year, and this is not the quietest year by far. What was that? 8.5 months for that 3.0 or whatever. That was the worst. Nothing for 8.5 months. We've probably had nothing for 6 months, but again, that means they're not
our generation.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's that instant gratification thing. But again, as long as you see that progress and the steps going forwards, that's all I need to see, right? And it's really hard to see that when most of what they're working on, they're not talking about. Like they don't talk about Squadron 42. And I think the real big change will come at this year's CitizenCon, because for the first time, I think they're actually going to put on their big boy pants. And there is an episode me and Algared have recorded that we have to re-record now because it's been 2 weeks and the information has changed. But there is an episode coming. We are going to talk about Squadron 42 specifically. But there are some very big things coming, and I think you guys dude, it's what is it, 22 days away now, right? 23 days away now, right? We are in the last 3 weeks of this run, and I think the whole situation come CitizenCon is going to flip. It's going to go into this hype of 1 year before the game comes out, and we're going to start to see things come out about Squadron 42, and so we're going to go from this quiet period into this, oh my god, it's finally happening. And I think that relief that we'll all feel at Squadron, relief at CitizenCon, that moment that we've all been kind of waiting for, like, when the fuck is this thing coming? We're finally going to have that at this year's CitizenCon. Algared?
Ties in. The two things that I think tie in. One is that I hear dozens of people say, I did not sign up for Squadron 42. I signed up for Persistent Universe. Bullshit.
Can you see Algared in a classroom talking to kids like that? No, sorry.
No. Right? That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Why is it bullshit? Go have a look at the original Gamescom trailer. What was it for? Squadron 42. You signed up for Squadron 42.
Yeah, you didn't do
so
your
don't
research.
Give me any bullshit. Don't give me any bullshit, but you didn't sign up for Squadron 42. It really peeves me off. It gets my goat that people say, I don't want Squadron 42. I never signed up for it. You may not have thought you signed up for it, but you did. All right. Vent over.
That was the plan, but the plan has never changed. And it's still, we've said this before and we'll say it again, when we come out and we pull out this old document from 8 years ago and say, you're fucking wrong, and then they go, oh, but that's so old, it's changed. It's like, well, what evidence do you have of that? You can only go with the evidence you have, and the evidence of Squadron 42, the plan was always, make multiple chapters of Squadron 42, all the money that we raised before Squadron 42 goes into the game, and then we use Squadron 42 funds for selling that game to power and fund Star Citizen. They're going to make way more money out of Squadron 42 than we ever funded them for.
Yep. Hollington, you don't want Angry Al as your teacher. No. That would be not fun.
Yeah. All right.
For you or me.
Del Kenobi, thank you. Hang on. Del Kenobi, thank you for the gifted sub. And he gave it to Effification. Enjoy your emotes. I don't know. That's a bit of feedback too for members.
I never know what Twitch is doing.
Yeah, so that's all right. For Twitch and YouTube people, let me know your thoughts on the mods. Like, if you remember, like, at us or whatever, and I'll read the comments, or let us know in a statement, question, and just let us know what you think of the we won't read it out on stream, but we will check it and we'll look at it after stream. But yeah, just let me know what you think of the emojis and stuff, because I don't know, it's something obviously we can improve on. It's not something I've really dived too deep into. So yeah, sorry, Algared.
Yep. Before I go on, I will say, Nicola Ferrer, I did see a comment from you saying, "Hey mods, can you let us know?" Because your question didn't show. Your question that showed up in our question stream.
Yeah.
The question only got answered half of it because it cut out after backlog. So all I got was that first bit that said pushing back the backlog. I can't answer anymore because there's nothing else there for me to read or look at. So re-put that question in. We will get to it.
Yeah.
But the other thing with Squadron 42 is that, we're working on other stuff. But I saw in Spectrum there was a comment from Chris responding to someone during the week, and we've been saying it all year for the last. Well, I've been saying it for the last.
I've actually
year
got that here, Algared. Hang on, I'll switch
Yep.
it over.
But I've been saying for the last year at least, when you read the monthly reports of Squadron are saying, "Hey, we're polishing, we're finishing, we're getting ready." When you read that response from Chris, there are two things that show up. One of the reasons why this year's been so slow is pairs was a lot more nasty than they expected, and we know that. We already knew that was the problem, and that was the issue. The second thing that I thought was really interesting was down near the end where Chris said, we're now at that point where we're actually able to move people from Squadron back into the PU.
And we also saw that on the roadmap, didn't we, Algared? You pointed that out to me. What was it? The EU vehicle team. They'd finished all the vehicles for Squadron 42, so they're just fully on Star Citizen now.
Yep.
And that's probably why you're going to see things like the X1 and some few other things come along more quicker now.
And so even at that point, when people say Squadron 42 is not coming, Squadron 42 is a pipe dream, Squadron 42 is taking too much time, all of those little dots, all of those things, all of that information you're seeing in the monthly reports, that I think is the strongest thing I've seen where they're saying that's the strongest evidence I've seen that Squadron 42 is like on the horizon. It's not distant. If you're in a tunnel, you can see the light at the end. It's all of those analogies and all of that imagery. It is near, and that gets me excited. I'm looking forward to it because I did sign up for Squadron 42, and
I signed up for the whole thing. I signed up for the whole thing. And
the PU's a nice addition to that. So yeah,
I think it takes. What's that saying about a village? All tapes to make a village. But I like honestly, I think when Squadron 42 does eventually drop, it has to be that game that silences the critics. And I think like just by the name, or you tell me, Algared, right? It's only an opinion, right? And chat can weigh in on this as well, right? But every time they put out one of those articles over the years, and let's be honest, there's less and less of them as time's gone on, right? But every time a negative article came out, sales would go up.
Yeah.
It didn't go down. There wasn't a dip. There wasn't a plateau. It was up every single time because the people that actually did their own due diligence and spent more than 5 to 10 minutes and actually did a bit of research or even just looked at a few videos went, shit, this thing is real. And then they'd, every person I've ever talked to, you give them a little enough of Star Citizen, they go for 3 days and then they come back and go, man, this game, and that's just happened again and again and again. So when this 100%. Finally does drop, Skill Up. There's a guy called Skill Up, right? He started out with I remember I started seeing him when he was about 50,000 subscribers. He's about to clock 1 million. I think he's just shy of 1 million. He's an Australian guy. And I've reached out to him over the years, and I just can't wait to see him shut up about Star Citizen because he mocks it every chance he gets. And as far as I can tell, he is just one of those people that have swallowed that sheep approach where everyone else says it's bad, so therefore it has to be bad. And I can't wait to the day where he has to review that thing and swallow his words. I
was wrong.
Yeah, and it's not just him. I reckon there'll be many people that has to do this turnaround. And I think there's even content creators in this space that are gonna have to do turns around. But we'll see, at the end of the day. And I don't think we're gonna get a repeat of, say, like we've seen those redemption arcs. We've seen No Man's Sky, now Cyberpunk this week. We've got to talk about that at some point too, Algared. I don't know if you've seen. So good now.
I haven't seen that. Big I didn't play it. I watched you play it.
It's gone from like a 6 to a 9 out of 10. It's really good. But it took them 3 years, right? Now, what would you prefer, Algared? That one chance to do a first impression and then 3 years of fixes? Or would you rather just the first impression and it's kick ass off the bat? Well, I know what I would want.
Well, I'm still here waiting for Squadron 42, and I'm not in a rush for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I want it. I'd love it to be out now, but if it takes it,
and that is the
time to get it done.
That is the epitome of a man that when he started this journey, really didn't know game development, and he now knows game development. And I'm sure most of you out there too are much the same as Algared. It has changed the way you think about games drastically. That's the one thing I've learned about this, is just how much positive effect it's had on how games are made. Because while you've got the Cyberpunks, the Starfields, and myriads of others out there that are doing it wrong, this is why we keep saying things about the ships. The later a ship comes, don't be worried, it'll be better, because the more time it's got to cook.
They just polish, and they build up the library of their assets and other stuff, and then it just...
Yeah.
And as you see, with the ships they've got lots of assets for, those ships come out really quickly. I wonder why.
And it's like you said, Algared, too, you know, with this instant generation thing, like the older we get, the more patient you get, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's... I have no problem waiting for the game. Yes, I want it. I wish it was out.
Yep.
But I'm quite happy to wait for it. And I'd rather... And I know, you know, I did my due diligence when I first found Star Citizen. And then I found it was a Chris Roberts game, and that killed me, because I knew exactly what it was going... I knew from what he'd done in the past and what he pushed his games for, I knew this was going to take a long time.
Let's be honest too, Algared. They've made mistakes, though, haven't they? They've made mistakes, but you wouldn't see the mistakes like this if it was any other game. Because they sit there and say nothing.
I was just about to say that. I've been involved in betas and alphas before, but they're, you know, usually that's at the end of the design process. That's where you're doing your polishing and fixing, you know.
How many times have you seen that, though, Algared, where the beta comes out, the demo, they call it, it's just a beta, it'll be fixed in the final release, and the beta is just as good as the final release.
Yeah.
Every time.
And I'm sick and tired of seeing that in games, where you know, you've done the beta, you've reported the bugs time and time again. Yeah, we fixed it, we're fixing it, and then it's still there. And I think watching Star Citizen development from go to woe, you actually see, okay, but you're in Avocado or something like that, and you go, okay, we fixed that.
Yeah.
And it goes to live, and the problem resurfaces, and you go, what's going on?
I think that's the part of it, that the way I would word it is, they've humanized the element of games development.
Yep.
They've shown us COVID. They've shown us, you know, they do have staff turnover, but all game companies have this, right?
Yep.
They all had COVID to go. Maybe that's why things like Cyberpunk were worse, and one of the reasons why they did push it out early was because of COVID. They just didn't have the people working. We'll probably know in time, but you know, it's the same thing here. Like one of the reasons Squadron 42 is delayed by 3 years was COVID. Let's be honest. Like, you just can't work at the same speed. Not making excuses, but
look, I know for a fact. I know for a fact that just before COVID, Chris was due to go to Manchester.
He was
to do what he's doing this year.
Yeah.
Right. So at the beginning of COVID, the plan was for the whole family to go to Manchester to close out Squadron 42. He went to Manchester this year.
He went to COVID. You were about to say he went to COVID.
I was going to say he went to COVID, but he went to Manchester this year and has been working on that. So that's 2 years that basically slowed that down. And I don't know anyone else, but I know doing distance learning had a massive impact. I swear we got through a third of what we'd have got through normally. And certainly as an educator, we find that students have really... they didn't cope as well. Their social skills have been impacted and all over the place. So, so COVID had an impact, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. COVID has mucked everyone up for a couple of years. And game developers are no different from that. So, yeah.
I did find with this post, the interesting thing was they tried to play it safe and get a really good off-the-shelf solution, and ironically it was that. It just shows you how much new tech they've had to build for this, and when they try to go, we'll save you guys time and money, but that's the thing that don't work. So it just shows you how bespoke this mammoth of a game is, and it's just ironically funny how it's all gone down.
But I think I think when you go the off-the-shelf thing, what it does, it gives you I don't think there's necessarily an expectation it's going to work perfectly,
There's an
There's always
expectation
an
it'll work.
expectation.
It'll be a shortcut, though. You know,
It'll give you a shortcut to start, and I
Mm.
think that was the idea that I know Chris talked about that with CryEngine
Yep.
when he was early on. People say, oh, why didn't you do what
Unreal or whatever.
not Unreal, Elite did.
Yep.
And well, he didn't have the engine
Mm.
that his old game was on because it was owned by a different IP.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the choice was, well, do we build it from scratch? That'll take us a long time. Do we do something so we've got a leg up? Which engine do we pick? 6 to 1, half a dozen of another. You know, it's that type of argument.
I think
and
you
just take a gamble. You just pick your poison and run with it and do what you need to. And
yeah, in hindsight, I think the only thing, if they had picked Unreal, they wouldn't have quite the staffing issues they have right now. Because again, when you're in the industry, you start to learn an engine, and every time they bring someone in, a lot of the time they got to train them to work on CryEngine.
Yep.
And that's with any development house, because every engine essentially becomes customized to that game. So you got to learn the little nuances of the tools and all that type of stuff. But if they use, say, something like Unreal, that foundation that everyone had would bring people up to speed quicker. But because there's just more people on that thing now. Like, let's go back to Cyberpunk. The next Cyberpunk is on Unreal Engine. They've thrown out their own engine. And by the way, you go look at how good that game looks. It looks damn sweet for a 3-year-old game right now. That new NVIDIA tech looks, it's so good, Algared. Like, I'm really genuinely impressed with where that engine tech is going, and NVIDIA will be AMD is going to uphill battle. Let's put it that way. If they can't pull off the same thing, so yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, but it is that type of thing with your engines. You know, when you're starting off, which engine do I pick? 6 to 1. You know, you're looking at all the engines, 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. Pick this one. Okay, yeah, it's giving us a leg up. We can start. We're gonna have to change things as we go. We're gonna have to modify it. That's okay. And I can remember Chris saying that would have been 2014, 2015, and a 10th of the chairman. You know, when people were asking why did you choose this, and he said, you know, basically it was there. we had an option. It was, I could have done this, could have done that. You know, hindsight's 2020. You know,
you can't predict the future. No one saw COVID coming. There you go.
Yeah.
This is example.
So yeah, and that's what it boils down to. So anyway, Michael Bruce has a question.
Yep.
Oh no, we did that one. That was the is it worth getting the CCU for it, or do you think the price is going to go up? And the answer was yes. Tom Van Duren has a question. He says, in the Galactopedia, it says Pegasus escort carrier. Never seen it.
Pegasus has been around for a while. It's usually
been around for a while.
It's usually on the glass of the one of the UK studios. You remember that, Algared?
Yep.
On the
Yep.
Retribution was on one too.
Yep. So the Pegasus is an RSI escort carrier. They did an introducing. There was an article called "Introducing the Pegasus" at one point. At one point, I do believe it also dropped off as a ship that wasn't going to be there, but it has since come back. Will it be a ship we buy? I'd love it to be a ship we could buy because it would help me with my ship management problems. Would it be an expensive ship?
Do you want to refresh my memory, Algared? Is it bigger or smaller than the Bengal? I think it's bigger, isn't it? Smaller.
No, smaller.
Okay.
It's smaller than a Bengal.
Yeah.
But
this is basically like if the Idris is a light carrier and the Kraken is a light carrier, this is like the medium large, yeah.
So you got your fleet carrier, which is your Bengal, and this is kind of the in between, and then you got your tiddly Kraken and other stuff. But there was an article called "Introducing the Pegasus." Was one of the article. I think it was the article they had way back when, and it had artwork for it as well. So
because that still freaks me out when I pull this up. And so Drake, there it is. Because when you type in Kraken, unless it's
called an escort carrier, or does it call it a light?
No, it calls it a light carrier.
Yep.
This one's multi-role light carrier, So if that's a light carrier, holy shit! You know,
Yeah,
like
so you want the Pegasus, which is your escort carrier.
yeah.
And if like I said, you can actually find artwork for that if you find that article on.
So all those
introducing the Pegasus.
carriers that people want, you've got to earn them in game. You've got to work together as an org to get them, and that's what they've done. So yeah. So that Engels Chatter SC says Pegasus 923. Yeah, well that does make it smaller than the Bengal then, absolutely, because the Bengal's over what 1.1k from memory. But yeah. All right, next question, Algared, please. So, nope, you doing something? Okay.
I am doing something.
Okay. Do you want me to do the next question then?
Yeah, you do the next question. I'm going to send you a link.
Okay, please do. I will go in stream chat. Here we go. Give me a second. This is why I do it, because I don't have to use multiple monitors. All right, Tom, have we already done Tom's? Yes, we did. So up to Niccolo Ferra says, Sonny, portion of the question went in. It's a paragraph. All right.
Yeah.
Could Mud pass along the question? I'm trying to put it all together now because he's sent multiple things. All right, I'm just going to go to Ravenfort. So Ravenfort says, I was trying to get a concept ship from Buyback, but it doesn't allow me to use Buyback token. It says Warbond only. Did they change the behavior or is it a bug? Wow, so you're going to pay Warbond to get a ship out of Buyback. Okay, that is new.
Do you have any tokens left?
No, he's saying he literally said, I was trying to get a concept ship from Buyback, but it don't allow me to use a Buyback token that sells Warbond only. Did they change the behavior as a bug? I haven't heard about that, but that does sound like a bug if that's the case. I'd have to have a look at that.
Yeah, I'd have to have a look at that. Let us know the ship.
Yeah, what ship are you trying to get back? And maybe talk to me and Algared after the show, and we'll have a look at it with you if we've got time. Because that's new to me. Yeah, or contact support and say, why can't I use... that's a really good option there. Who said that? I'm a caffeine fiend. Okay, so it's Algared's brother? No. said contact support. Yeah, so contact concierge if you've got it, or contact support and see if they can assist you with that. That'd be the people to help you with. So yeah. All right. Next question, please, Algared, if you're up to it.
Okay, so the next question, you've done Ravenfort. When we finally get your paragraph turn up in our question feed, Nicola will do it. Kitra says, can you name your 3 to 5 favorite ships for a single player gaming? Oh, it's another low-hanging fruit episode for us.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you for that suggestion. And yes, Luminalia, we will eventually get to your episode.
Yeah, we've just got a lot of things we've got to do before CitizenCon. And then we'll probably have a couple of things between CitizenCon and AI. It's a very busy time of year for me in Algared because there's like certain things that we have to do, metrics and things like that. It just kind of is the way it is.
So add that to our list of episodes, and we will do that at some point.
Hang on,
although I have a feeling, let's see, clarify that, are you talking 3 to 5 ships for single play now or in the future?
No, we can,
because that will change your answer. And I'm frozen. Oh no, haven't frozen.
No, you haven't frozen. I've minimized things. Hang on. Can't find thing. I'm looking for the brainstorming document. Algared knows. There it is.
Yeah.
All right. What did you say it was? It was so top 5 ships for solo.
3 to 5 solo ships favorite ships for solo gaming.
We'll just make top 5 ships for solo play.
And we could probably even do that as a now and later.
Yeah. Now and later. So that would be 5 of each. Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
And there might even be some repeats in there. Yeah, we can do that.
Yep.
It's in the document.
It's saved. Says, thank you for the question, Luminalia. Northern Trooper. I have a 2-pack of Furies. Well, that's possibly a good thing.
Nice LTI
tokens. Can I upgrade one of them and keep the other? Yes. Is there a special process for performing that? Nightmare.
No.
So basically...
So hang on. Are you talking about... Well, you can't upgrade it to another Fury because they're all the same price. But if you mean keep one Fury and upgrade that to another ship...
That's what he's talking about, yes. Cool. All you do is you literally just go... you get your CCU, you do your CCUs as normal, and when you apply it, you just pick... It'll come up with the options where you can apply it, and then you just pick the one you want. and it'll apply it. And
the
you'll
only
have-
problem with that is if they have exactly the same name.
Yep.
But like
Well-
if one would say, I'm assuming like it's a Fury and like a Fury. What was it? Not the M. Was it MX? MX. So one would say.
wouldn't-
Sorry.
I was going to say it won't really matter because when you first apply it, they're both Furies.
Hmm.
Then when you apply it, it shows up next time as upgraded. So
Yeah. Oh, just as long as they're different Furies, it would make it easier. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't really matter too much. But yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's just the same process. The problem comes in if you suddenly change your mind, having applied the CTU. I don't want that, and then you've got to.
Which is why I don't like packs. But yeah, be definitely certain that is a ship you want to go to. And if you're not sure, you can always buy the upgrade and just don't apply it until you're absolutely certain.
But in the situation where you're suggesting where you actually want a Fury and you're just CCUing the other one, that's basically just like using a single ship CCU. So
currently ISC is dropped, but I cannot see it. So if someone would be kind enough to link it, that would be great.
Send you the link, that would be nice.
Because I can't see it. So yeah, Janos says ISC is dropped. ISC is up. So there's multiple people messaging me saying it's up. But yeah, I need a link, please, boys, because
show me the link.
It's not coming up.
Show me the money.
It's not coming up for me on YouTube's. And Algared's watching me refresh it like 4 times. Yep. Oh, there we go.
It's not there, so.
Hang on, I got it. Someone's linked it to me. Thank you for that, gentleman.
Okay.
Chucking this in. Except he put his name in front of it. Hang on. All right.
Before we do that, Zero says, "Hi guys, I did not know about this Zeus ship. Could you talk about what is this ship?"
You'll have to wait for the video.
Wait for the video this weekend. Because that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not going to use Rave again this weekend, Algared, after what happened last time. I will try to change it over for you, but as I've been saying, it's not been working. But I'll try.
Right.
Source. Stream quality, custom. All right. Here we go.
Missions in video games are more than just a way to tell a story
and I just realized
give a player things to do. They're also a way to drive players to explore areas they might otherwise miss, to encounter aspects of gameplay they might otherwise not attempt. And for developers, they're often a way to push the development of new features, or in the parlance of the mission feature team, new verbs for their systemic mission design system. And one new mission or global event from MFT can lead to 10 others being created by designers on sandbox teams around the world. So on today's show, we're exploring 2 currently being developed, starting with Data Heist.
So Data Heist is a brand new mission coming to the Star Citizen Persistent universe. It will be one of the first missions from the organization of Bit Zero. Bit Zero are an organization of hackers. They're kind of rich kids that have kind of taken on the hobby of hacking and trying to almost being Robin Hood. They want to do things, but again, they're a bunch of rich kids. They don't know, ripping off a merchant for such amount of money is even a big thing for that merchant.
So the player will take the mission, head to the location. In this case, we are using the UGFs. Once you're inside the facility, you'll have to gain access to the mainframe.
Now you can do that in multiple ways. We have hacking still in the PU, where you can use a crypto key. And there's also other methods that might be at the location that will help you access those mainframes, but I'll leave that for you to find.
Once you've hacked into there, you then have to allow the hacker into the system. And then from that point on, he will do all of the heavy lifting with the uploading of the data from the servers. But what you have to do is maintain the safety of those servers so that their upload can actually follow through.
So I'm hearing that this is just extended bunker missions. Are you hearing anything else, Algared? That's all I'm hearing.
It's just bunker missions with a different purpose.
Just a different objective, yeah. It's not that new to me, but okay, yeah, here we go.
We will...
different focus.
Yeah.
then start to give you a couple of enemies populating the area because they're responding to, your invasion of their property.
They'll come in and you'll fight them. At the same time, there's going to be the owners of those servers. Although they're not on site, they actually have the ability to remote into their systems. And they're probably not very happy with the idea that you're trying to steal their data.
During the mission, you will find that some of these servers will start to overheat. Now, that's because the people that own the location are deciding, we can't kick out this hacker from the location, but we can try and either halt you or, stop you from getting the data.
They turn off the cooling on these servers. And so when the cooling's turned off, they're basically trying to melt down their servers, destroy the data. So they'd rather have a scenario where they destroy their data than let you have it.
You then have to look around the area, try and solve why they're overheating, and if you can try and stop that, that will be one of the big situations during this mission.
Okay. All right, so that's a little different.
It basically just continues like that. You have a certain amount that you're supposed to have uploaded, and you need to defend them, and then you have to turn them back on, and it just continues like this until you either succeed or you fail.
Data Heist is a mission for morally grey people. I wouldn't ever say that it was for the good or the bad. In its first implementation, you will be infiltrating security locations, security UGFs. So at this point in time, it is unlawful.
It's a defend a thing mission, but we're adding some more interesting lore and complexity to this mission where it's not just defending.
Problem is, you haven't given enough motivation to unlawful players in the game yet. The problem at the moment is you always end up in prison and you're punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not motivated to do this because of all the extra time I'll have to go fapping around in prison. I don't know about you, Algared, but that...
Non-lethal takedowns, so weapons that don't kill.
Yeah.
Because if you're
But the
morally grey,
but the
you're not necessarily out to be a murderer.
But as soon as you're in trespassing, you mark for...
Yep.
I mean, like, it's the cart before the horse scenario again, but we'll see.
But then I suppose you want a system where you can actually shut down the communications or jam the communications.
Yeah, as long as I can turn off...
doesn't register.
As long as I can turn off the crime stat before I even go in there.
Yeah.
I've got
or
no
the
problem.
communication about crime stat or the way it's being reported, and yeah,
it can affect my rep with whoever, but I shouldn't be flagged for it because it's just the gameplay is just not there for prisons yet. So yeah,
if I can rig it but they don't know that I'm doing it, then
exactly
it shouldn't affect my rep.
Something from taking damage, we're adding this extra layer of gameplay for a player. It's how they can be destroyed. It's adding extra layers. So it's not just a physical destruction. It's also this concept of the data on this server being destroyed. So we wanted to take these two things and have them in one.
My favorite thing about the mission is possibly the things that it could open doorways for. The fact that it's the first mission for the Bit Zero is super exciting for me. I'm a fan of other video games that involve hacking, and having an entire organization revolve around hacking is super exciting for me.
The mission feature team's role isn't just to make new missions, it's also to make the tools that content teams will take on and give new life to.
One such way in Data Heist, for example, is a module that's focusing on randomization. They will target a random server in the room just to get you moving around the UDF so that it keeps you on your toes during the mission. But this can be utilized by other designers for powering anything to do with randomization as well. So instead of always seeing the spawns from the spawn closets being at the same time, 5 minutes in or anything like that, you could be kept on your toes.
And with a mission like Data Heist, that gives us several new tools in the toolbox.
Now that's one of the things that
And in addition to the standard mission...
Sorry, I could say again.
One of the things with that is it comes into what we were talking about earlier, where, one thing adds to something else. So the tech they've built for that is actually going to help them do, other things and flow over to other areas. And that just increases gameplay.
Yeah,
so,
and he did mention that at the start. Disco did. All right. Part 2.
That populate the verse. The mission feature team is always examining and reevaluating the global events that run throughout the year. Do they perform the way we intend they should? Not just in frame rate, but also in engagement, enjoyment, enchantment, entertainment. And if they're not, perhaps they need enhancement or extinguishment. And the new global event Blockade Runner hopes to be just a little bit of both.
Blockade Runner actually replaces Ninetales Lockdown. We analyzed Ninetales Lockdown, and we looked at participation in that global event. And we also looked at what players did in it. So participation in Ninetales Lockdown wasn't actually that high. We realized, like, there's no point maintaining this global event if no one plays it, you know? We looked back at the other ones that we had made, like Xenothreat, and looked at the gameplay in those that players do engage with and they enjoy. And that was the aspect of going on those wrecks in Xenothreat, picking up the crates and delivering them. They enjoy this experience. They enjoy working together as a team to do it. So we thought, what can we do with that and make a new event? Something that players will instantly understand what the event's about. We came up with this idea of Blockade Runner.
Blockade Runner is a new global event that we've been working on. In this event, there's a criminal faction that sets a blockade around some of the space stations in the universe. This makes trade and travel between these stations problematic, and their goal in doing this is to prevent the trade of one specific material that is important for the refinement of spaceship fuel.
The idea is that a player will be called to help deliver a new commodity that is involved in the production of quantum fuel and deliver it from our LEO stations.
Okay, my first concern is you are now forcing people to do this event because they can't go to particular stations.
Yep. Well, I used to just avoid where.
Yeah, but before they were
Right,
at like smaller stations. But correct me if I'm wrong, but that was Seraphim in the picture before.
Yeah, it may have been, but
So we'll see, or we'll see where this goes.
Yep.
Everest Harbour.
Everest Harbour.
Refinery
Yeah.
sister stations. And we have to deliver a certain amount of this within a certain narrow amount of time.
This material has a short half-life, so if it's not stored properly at a specific facility, then it will expire and become worthless, and you'll have to try again.
When you arrive at the LEO, there'll be like a blockade from criminals, and you will have to get through that blockade, land, buy this commodity as much as you can fit on your ship, and you'll have to take off, and then you'll have to brave the blockade again, and then QT to one of the refineries. On the way, you may be interdicted by more of these criminals who don't want you to get away.
Target destroyed.
So I'm seeing the gameplay, Algared, because this is the first escort mission.
yep, it is escort missions.
Yeah.
It's filling up those at the moment. Does it entice me? No, not really.
I think it's going to be kind of popular. I'm going to be honest with you,
Look,
because
it probably will be.
I think back to the one where you got what was it, the one with the crates, where people the shooty people would be out defending the people loading the crates, and then the people in the the cargo. So it's that again, just in a moving scenario.
And you saw them say that, they looked at, okay, what was it that people liked in Xenothreat? What and Ninetale Lockdown wasn't working. If people aren't playing it, then clearly get rid of it, pee it off.
Yeah.
Try something else. And so you can see this is an iteration of that. I like Siege of Orison. I like the I like the Xenothreat. Will I like this? Who knows? Maybe.
I can see some interesting ships in this too, Algared, like a hammerhead.
Yeah.
You can carry cargo on a hammerhead. Just you and your mates with your beers in the turrets, chilling out, just shooting shit as you talk around. I reckon that'd be a great night out, actually, to be honest with you.
You just take it. You just take a javelin. Got plenty of cargo
Well,
space.
javelin's not in game, but you get my point.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm thinking future. I'm thinking future.
All right, let's keep going.
And then on the other side, a blockade, but you'll have to get through that. Then you will land, and then you will sell. So there's this delivery loop for players. Not every ship will be best suited for dealing with these guys without, some escorts. So the idea is that players will also take this mission and support those other players in combat ships.
Maybe you delegate one person with the big tanker ship and others to fend off any enemies along the way.
Yeah, my initial concern is still the problem. Those that do not want to pay attention in this event or join in this event, if you say you're mining or salvaging, you're getting dragged into this. So this event is going to take over the server, which is
or you're stuck. You're on the planet of Microtech, and they're blockading Everest Harbour.
Yeah, and if I've got all my rep up with a particular faction at that station, and all of a sudden you're sending me to the other side where I don't have rep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to piss people off.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do like about both Siege of Horus and Xenothreat is
you don't have to compete if you don't want to.
I don't have to be involved if I don't want to. It's the thing I did like about Lockdown. I didn't like Lockdown.
And
but
hopefully
the beauty of it was I could avoid it.
And hopefully they learn the lesson with this one, because I think that's really important. You cannot force people to do shit they do not want to do. And I think they'll find that people will just log off.
Yep. Yeah,
and not play. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think using the main stations was a bad idea. If you'd used like the range point stations, because then you can go, between those two, totally fine. But they're literally saying there is blockades at both. So you've got to go from like he said, Everest Harbour to a refinery station. So that was from Everest Harbour to one of the Lagrange points.
Yep.
But if they were both Lagrange points, you wouldn't have been forced into it as much.
Yeah, and you're being dumped into, and you're being interdicted on the way as well. So now, admittedly, I hope that means if you're carrying a cargo, you're flying to that, you get interdicted. But yeah, it too early days, I think, to actually jump on it and say it's rubbish or otherwise.
Yeah, but it's a concern, yeah. It's a concern.
But it's a concern, and it doesn't appeal to I'm not a combat fighter. I suck at.
Yeah, but you'll be a good turret gunner, Algared. I've flown with you in the Hurricane. You're a good shot in the turret.
So yeah, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. But
yeah. I'm gonna Fab Aliens mentioning the Redeemer. Yeah, I'm gonna be exactly the same. I'm gonna have a lovely time in the Redeemer for this.
Yeah. Look, any escort, any and I suppose one advantage is it will really give them a chance to check out what the support, what those support escort ships can do, what the heavy fighters can do,
think of all the ships like Hercules, like the C2, the M2s, where they don't usually have turret gunners. All of a sudden. You're going to want to have turret gunners in those, so it's going to change how they feel. I think it's a good thing, actually, to be honest with you. It's gonna show you some weaknesses, strengths of ships that we haven't seen before. Like, why would I take a Caterpillar over a Hercules, or vice versa? And you can see that backwards and forwards. Like, is it better to take a small little quick Cutlass over taking that big Hercules?
And it might be, the value of cargo you can carry, or it might be just the fact that it can take more hits.
Yep.
But versus the fact that I'm less
speed
targets, I can speed or all of those things, as well as letting them look at, okay, how does this escort ship work? What's its deficiencies? How's this one working? Because you can actually it'll hopefully give more opportunities.
So definitely pros and cons.
Definitely pros and cons. And you need all of that stuff.
So if you are doing this event, I would say take the opportunity and test it out and try some different ships that and if you get a chance to.
And join and do what like one of the things I've done or like doing when I've been doing Xenothreat is joining a ship or getting just to pick up crew just to do the mission just because it is fun.
Even some rarer ships you don't see. Like I'm just thinking of the Freelancer Miz or the Misery. That would be great at this. Just the amount of missiles you could fire and then like soar on through. Another ship that would be really good for this would be the Raelian. When that goes in game, would be the Blockade Runners, the Star Runner they have in there. I'm trying to think of the other ones.
Any of those fast
Chorus
could be another one.
Would be a good one in there as well. The Connie, it's going to bring a lot of those ships out of the woodwork. I like this. So we're going to see a lot of ships that you don't see too much anymore.
I can remember even doing Xenothreat and taking the Gladiator just because of the torpedo boat.
The Corsair.
You never see.
Oh my god!
Yep.
so the negative of the Corsair is obviously because they're all pilot guns. That's going to be the #1 ship for this, and I can't believe they haven't shown it. But the difficulty with the Corsair is those big wings and landing, obviously. But that's the ship that people are going to do this event in because it's solo. It's almost like having a Redeemer, and you can just do it all yourself. So that'll be the ship of this event, I think, the Corsair. So we'll see. Right.
At its core, Blockade Runner is a combination of the cargo transport and selling and space combat. One of the things I like most about Star Citizen is the space combat. I've never really been much of an FPS player, but I do like space combat, and one of the big elements of Blockade Runner is space combat. The stakes are higher, so if you screw up, you don't just simply regenerate. You regenerate and have to buy all your cargo again, so watch out for that. As the dev, I've been playing this entirely by myself up till now. We're going to be going through some playtests soon, so we'll be able to experience the mission properly, but thus far I've been playing it solo with a ship that can both fight and transport.
What ship are you?
The Cutlass Black. It's the best ship for everything.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. It is still one of the best ships in game right now to do the most amount of things.
This week? Well, we learned that missions like Data Heist don't just give players more ways to play, they also give mission designers more tools to play with. That, like every other aspect of Star Citizen, global events are continuously evaluated and refined and occasionally rebuilt and replaced when needed. And that Blockade Runner is just that, meant to replace the former Nine Tails lockdown before the end of this year. Now, don't forget that there's just 3 weeks until CitizenCon 2953, the now 2-day event emanating from the Los Angeles Convention Center, where you'll get the biggest concentration of Star Citizen info, technology, features, visuals, and more, all beamed into your brains via Twitch. Or if you're there in person, by just following Mark Gibson around all day and asking about his Hercules voice. I can still hear it when I look at the C1. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thank you for letting us share the process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here next week.
So far, yeah. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the space combat, so that element works pretty well for me. Buying and selling cargo is fine too. Cut that part.
Is fine too. Oof. Ouch. Algared, your camera is going weird.
Yes, I've gone Predator.
Yeah.
See if I can fix that. I might need to change it, turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yes. So good. I've refreshed it a couple of times, but she's not coming back. Oh, nope. I don't know what's going on there.
I cannot tell you.
It's a new one. Yeah, might have to do a bit of a restart. Oh, good. That's fine. Alrighty then. I'll do a question while you do that, sir. You were sending me a link.
I did.
You
It
want
was a link.
Oh shit!
It was a link of the Pegasus.
All right, I'll go back over to that. Hold on. Oh man, this is taking me back. This is
It gives you a little bit about it, and it also has 17 pictures of where they were with the Pegasus.
And this is really a long time ago. So this is 2014. So that's how long the Pegasus has been around for. You can definitely see the RSI stylings on it. I remember when we talked about this just ages ago. It's very much the Battlestar Galactica.
It's smaller than the Bengal.
So I'm gonna drop this link in chat because it's very hard. These are very small images unless I kind of like open one like this, but then I've got to open all 17. So I'm gonna drop this in chat for people to look at themselves.
So that's where you can find the but that's just stuff that's on the site. So you can go to the Galactopedia. You can even just type in introducing the Pegasus and go to the RSI site. There's also information on it on the wiki, which is basically taking stuff from the RSI site. But as I tell my students, don't trust wiki.
All right, your camera is not.
My camera is
Is it Dodo or?
It looks like it's taking its time.
Okay, all right. We'll just wait it out. Right. Next question. Can you do the question, or you want me to do it?
Checking the camera was still on.
Yep. Spark plug. says, with respect to the original concept ships, do you think there is any value to the hangar included with most large ships? You see, they've moved away from a lot of the hangars
Yeah.
now, because but the original plan was to have different levels and different qualities in locations, and I do think they will gradually go back to that potentially, because that's what they talked about. But at the moment, if you kind of look at the locations, the only real one you kind of see is the aero view. Yeah, Algared.
And I think the plan is to still do that. So the idea was originally to kind of have what we've got now, if I'm remembering correctly, to have kind of what we've got now, but also your player hangar / area would be an area you could, you'd get one of those, and the closer you were to the city, the more upmarket they were, and then there'd be a rent aspect.
Yeah, I think you had to pay
those.
more to get the higher quality ones. So the ones that I remember, besides the Aero View, which was in the middle, was the Revel in York, which was the high up market kind of Origin looking one. And then they had the Safe Land, which was more of the Drake low cost one. And then the other one that they threw into the mix years later was an Asteroid hangar, which is more of the pirate one, which was VFG Industrial, from off the top of my head. And yeah, the asteroid one's going to be the hard one, because how do you do an asteroid one on a planet? So yeah, I think some of that has changed somewhat. Some of it is similar, but yeah, you'd have to imagine, like, the first implementation, you'd have to assume that it's based on the planet you go to. So just, and devil's advocate here, say you go to Microtech, it's more mid-range to high range, so you're more likely to get a Revel in York or an Aero View, where if you go to Hurston, you're more likely to get a Safe Land or an Aero View. So maybe there's a little bit of mix of both. Maybe it is only one, we just don't know yet, because that's something that has changed. And you'll notice that from a lot of the packs, you don't see hangars with the ships anymore. They don't do it as much. They used to do it, like, they do it with older ships, and you can still buy those older ships and get the hangar, but we see it less and less, don't we, Algared? When they do a concept ship, it doesn't tend to come with
You don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
It's
kind of changed. Yeah.
But now Execute, I just gotta say, I fully expect, and my own personal hangar on Lawville is a Revel in York. So
well,
I think you need to correct yourself.
We have seen them do different levels of buildings and stuff, though. It's just they haven't fully, so to speak, nutted out and said exactly how they're going to do it now. I would hope they're still going to keep up their end of the bargain, and you can choose the hangar that you want. But you've obviously got to imagine they had to pick a hangar to do and fold out across the burst. So they picked Aero View, and they've gone with that.
Yep.
But in time, they'll probably go back and they'll do Revel in York and all the others, and then it'll be whatever one you pick, and you'll have to pay extra money to get the higher quality ones, or you could just choose to pay less. If you're a very functional person, and it just comes down to looks, because at the end of the day, it's like, are you going to pay extra money just for looks? And if it is just a look thing, I think a lot of people will just get the Safe Land, But if there's an actual perk to actually getting the Revel in York, then people will pay the extra.
I'm going to call BS.
Mm-hmm.
And you should know, you spend crap loads more money than I do on skins.
Yeah, but it's just a hangar. You're not spending all your time there.
Yeah. Well, some people spend heaps of time in their hangars or homes. People spend ages fixing up, decorating homes in MMOs.
It'll come down to how it's balanced, Algared.
And people spend heaps of time decorating their guns and doing skins for their guns in guns.
Okay, look, yes, you can call me on that as a bullshit, but again, it'll come down to the price difference. Like, if it literally cost you twice as much to get a Revel in York, and if it's an ongoing, like if it's a one-time fee, I absolutely agree with you. But if it's continually increased rental price,
I think for the home hangar, it counts, because the home hangar you get free anyway.
Yep.
Your initial one.
Not everyone. Only us older backers get that. So yes, but yeah, absolutely. If it's your home hangar, then you'll get the top one, because you get it for free. Yeah.
So you get what you've ever won. Am I going to get Revel in York on every system and every planet I go to? Hell no.
Yeah.
But will I have a hangar and warehouse space on every planet that I do business? Yeah, because I got so much crap. I'm looking for that one they did last week with the container system. I'm looking forward to that because I've got so much crap. It'll clear up my inventory. Oh,
Boxception.
bring it on!
Yeah.
Bring it on!
Mm.
But yeah, I did see your question, Nicola. It will turn up. I've just got it. We'll just scroll through it. It'll turn up eventually.
All right, so hang on. Amazon's Shadow says Selfland, Air Review, and VFX are in game. Where's the Selfland and where's the VFX Industrial? I know they're in. Like you can go into the Hangar viewer thing, and the Rebel in York, like the Hangar module, but the Hangar module's a bit busted. So that's in Hangar module, but where in universe is a Rebel in York, VFX, and Selfland? I've only ever seen Air Review in universe. Have you seen anything else, Algared? Like, I guess you could.
I'll be honest. I don't really pay attention.
Because even the ones at Grimhex are a version of Air Review. That styling is Air Review, and yeah, you can have it all graffitied up and everything, but it's Air Review, right? Yeah. That style that we currently have is the same in all hangars. Yeah.
I certainly don't think that Microtech is using Revel and York.
No.
It's using a cleaner version.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So if you go to Microtech, Horizon, Hurston, ArcCorp, Grimhex, wherever you go, they're all versions of AeroView, and you can go look up the styles, and you'll see what we're saying is correct. But as far as I'm aware, there is no. All right, AeroView is at Horizon and New Babbage, VFX and Selfland are at Hurston. Okay, then they're all the same style then. Then they've thrown out the whole style palette, because they are, if you go look at them as 3D models, don't look at them as the color they are, because they're all the same style then, if that's the case. Because yeah, that original styling was AeroView.
And you look at the original styling of all the hangars, and they did the hangars changed over time as well. Like I can remember the very first hangar modules, and you went into them, and the layout was the same, but the look was totally different.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's what we're hoping, isn't it? Over time, they go back and they redo the one. So if what you're saying is correct there about New Babbage in different areas, then they'll actually go back and change the style completely, not just the colors and the textures.
And then you look at the second iteration of those hangars where you could get less ships in, but the styling was totally different. You had more green plants on a Revel and York, and more crisp, clean. It was almost Origin styling. If you think of go inside an 890 jump, that's kind of the styling you had on
Night Tom.
On the Revel and York, and then you had gone down to so totally different styling. And I remember the asteroid hangar always looked like it was run down, wrecked, and falling apart. And it was like, man, my asteroid hangar would be fixed up and looking good.
So we'll see.
But
hopefully they get to that. That's all stuff down the road. It's not. And I know some people say it is necessary, but it is not necessary gameplay wise. You can still functionally work out, again, get the whole gamut of the gameplay and then go wide. Kind of opposite of what ED did. ED went wide and then was shallow. You want that depth, and then you want the breadth.
Yeah. And I can remember even Chris talking about that early on when when ED went live. He said, "Look, we could have done what they did. We've opted to go to build all the systems and then go, rather than put it out and then."
It creates problems, doesn't it?
On top.
Because every time you want to add something new, you've got to go back and rebuild what you built previously to get to work with it. Or if you just build it all
and plan for all those expansions you want.
Yeah.
But the downside is when you plan for all those expansions, it takes time. Whereas you put it out, then so it really is those design choices, and you've got to pick your poison and go for it. And sometimes you look back and go, yeah, we really should have gone the other way. And other times you go, hey, we made the right choice. And you never know. You never know at the time when you're doing it. So
yeah, you just got to take a gamble and the plunge.
Yep. So Hollington has a question. That question is Hull D and Hull E price increase next sale or later? What do you expect? Absolutely. We expect an increase.
It'll be on release though. I think they'll kind of wait for release, because they'll probably hope that'll motivate people to buy more of them.
Yeah, they may put it up in between just
Never
to
say
try and give
never.
that gap.
Yeah, never say never.
Someone asked me a question last night actually. They said,
Mm.
I think I can't remember what ship they were asking about. Orion, and I was saying, do I expect it's going to go up? And my answer is, I expect
Absolutely.
every sale, every ship to go up.
Yeah. You just never know. And that's why we've always said pick up those small CCUs, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think we must have been saying it for the Endeavour and Crucible now close to 5 years.
Oh,
You know, it's $10. It's a $10 investment though. But you get my point, and you can transfer that over to any ship. If you are unsure, 100%. It's a $10 gamble. And again, it's not a gamble. You just melt it and add it back into something else.
If you know that you want that ship, or you think you want that ship, and you're concerned, oh no, it's going to go up, I've got to buy it. Buy the CCU to it. You know, and then you know, even if you go, oh, I've got to make sure I've got an LTI token. Okay, get your LTI token, put it aside, and get the CCU, and that's it.
And an LTI token will always come around. Like I didn't pick up an LTI token from the Galaxy because I know another one will come around the next sale or whatever. So that's not the priority. The priority is the ship you're going to.
Yeah. You know, that's a second or third priority. The first one is that first CCU. The one that ends the chain.
So Akisha says on Twitch, you guys are the reason for my 11 Gemini the whole CCUs. Holy shit.
Hey, but that's going to be savings for you down the track.
Yeah. Or 150.
It does cloud out your Hangar, 100%.
Yep. And if you don't use them, you can hand them off to friends or sell them or whatever. You know, there's always, you know, take it as you want. You know, you use them as you want. But again, at $10 each, if he doesn't want half of those, well, would probably recommend you give them away or sell them. But again, worst case scenario, you can melt them and
you can melt those 10, get that $100 and use it to buy a credit CCU to fill a chain gap. So, like, if you're trying to save money, you never buy the concept ship.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get convenience, then you go with concept ship, but you're paying more, you're paying more for convenience.
Yeah. They changed the stakes with World 1 CCUs, and in hindsight, I actually never would have introduced them. I don't know why they did, because they would have got more money. Because if you've got to buy a ship outright, right?
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I certainly find as time goes on, certainly as ships become more expensive, I'm less inclined to just buy it outright.
But
I'll give it a lot more thought.
But that's also the thing that we've often said is one of the first ships they always introduce for a new thing is generally the capital ship. I think the only exception I can think of that right now is the Starfarer, where it's the large. We don't have the large gas miner. There's the capital gas miner, right? But in every other profession, the capital came first. The Pioneer, the Reclaimer, the Orion. You see where I'm going here, right? And that top-down approach that Algared and I have talked about, not only do you get the capital chip, for us when we were back 2014, we got it at a cheaper price, you got the best ship of its type of thing, and you just earn down. So really it is the longer you've been in this game, the better. But for some reason we have a Starfarer gas collector, we don't have that Nebula ship. And that, unfortunately, Algared, is probably going to be one of the most expensive ships I ever buy because it's coming later. But again, that's why I'm building out my chains, because I know it's going to come, and unless they make it limited like the Pioneer, and I'm going to freaking kill them if they do, which they may do, you know, I'm not going to buy it outright. I'm just going to CC you into it, and I've been planning for that. And I still think the reason you can't CC you into the Pioneer, and I'm hopeful that will change, is they just don't know what that ship's going to be, because it's clearly not a base builder anymore, and it's now going to manufacturing, and we've seen that with things like
look, I think
like that.
You know, they avoid making the ships available for sale if they just not sure what they're going to do, and they don't want to lock themselves in, and they're already locked in to a certain degree. But hey, you know, you don't make it even worse for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, Luminalia has a question. Luna Maria, sorry, I keep going Loon and not Luna. Okay, so Luna Maria says, if I ever developed a Bengal carrier and put it in pledge store, how much do you think it would cost?
Too much.
too much. I'd be melting pretty much all of my fleet.
What's a javelin? 480?
3.5, I think. I think it's 3.5.
10 grand for a Bengal would not be out of the realm of possibility then, if that's the case.
I think that's even too cheap. Like I said, I'd probably be melting my fleet. So
yeah,
it's
pretty crazy. And man, if they ever put that thing up for sale after all the times, no. There would be outrage like you would not believe, because all the old backers would stand up and say, hey, what the fuck? And then we would point shit out to the newer ones, and it would just be a no.
How many crew is the Bengal carrier going to need? A javelin.
It's just not going to end well. It would be a very big PR disaster if they did that.
A javelin is 80 crew.
Yeah.
Bengal is like dwarfs a javelin. It's going to easily be 100.
Yeah,
200 crew.
So to get to that price, I essentially, because it was a third the size, essentially just took the javelin and times it by 3. People were wondering what I was doing there. So yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking at a server or more. It's life. It's basically live on the Bengal and just do repairs constantly and run. You spend your year going from Thames.
Yeah, I think bigger ships like that though, obviously Algared, you can have a lot of like a whole org on it, but not only that, like I think it's going to be the same thing with the javelin. By the way, you're not going to not be able to have AI on those ships because you're not going to have enough people. It's just
I've always taken the view, like I think they'll flesh it out, but I think there'll be generic AI on those ships doing cleaning just to flesh them out and make them seem full. But I expect that your divisions, your engineering guy will have half a dozen AI that
it adds to the cost of running it though too, Algared. Right? They want to have that. They want them to be a sinkhole element to them. So you're not wrong.
100%. Yeah, and I think there'll be AI crew for cleaning. You might get do you employ a skeleton crew? Do you employ an ensign crew? Do you employ veterans? And that'll be a sinkhole. And there'll be and then each department will have AI that's working in them, and you'd have a player running the department. I think that's just my speculation and thought process, but yeah. But the Bengal will be a nightmare. You're going to be able to control it, just not own it. Okay, Nicola, your question has finally turned up. Okay, so last year we saw notable outrage at the RSI Galaxy Doritos-shaped mid-sized ship, with more concepts and pushing back the backlog. Now rumours leaks indicate a straight-to-flyable RSI mid-sized Doritos-shaped mid-sized ship with notable gameplay features. Overlay them with the similarities and you've got significant. But do you expect people will recognise it is a marketing attempt to recapture those sales while the backlog stagnates and to prioritise those straight-to-sales?
I think
such as the Galaxy, etc. And I think
there's a video coming on the weekend. We'll leave it at that.
And I think that's pretty much the video on the weekend.
Yeah.
But in short, no, I don't think it does do those issues. I don't think it's a marketing grab. I think it's just a ship that's there and they can do. But yeah, watch this space. Is the short? Let's see if I can get that light working again. Decided that it was battery ran out and the power supply is not recharging it, so it's most annoying. At least I'm not being blinded.
All right, next question, please, Algared.
Adam W says $20 from Adam. We've done that. Thank you, Adam. Going back to your super chat. Akela Bellany says, "Can I have a free ship?" No. If you want a chance for a free ship, go to the Hull C video. We've got two more coming up too that have got giveaways on them as well. So the one on the weekend doesn't have one. No.
But we've got the
Hull C's up.
Yeah.
You've got a little bit of time.
The Fury's up as well, isn't it?
And the Fury's up as well.
And we've got
the
other one which will be
And there's another one that's
the
coming that we'll
Mustang
do as well.
Yeah, and
Yep.
we'll re-record that this weekend. That'll probably go out next
Mhm.
weekend, though. Yeah, but
But
we'll
for those-
probably try and do the thing after AIE too, where we give away some starter packs and stuff if we can. We should probably get on to contacting CIG about that too, actually.
We'll see what we can do with that.
Yeah.
At
Real
the
quick,
moment, it's going to be a matter of letting them get over CitizenCon.
well, maybe, yeah, but sooner rather than later. I was going to say, Nicolo says on Twitch there, because I know you can't see it, says thanks for bearing with me and humoring me, Algared, just so you get the message.
It's okay. We always try to get through all the questions. We don't always manage it, and I suppose that's one advantage of using the super chats, is it does lag and draw that attention to us.
Yeah. We've got about 5 minutes left, and I'm going to cut the bot off anyway. So yeah.
So then after that, if you want a question answered, you'll have to super chat it. But even that, just the bare minimum. The bare minimum super chat. It's never expected, never needed. But yeah. So go to the Hull C video. We'll work out the closing of that. I think we were originally thinking we'd kind of say, hey, next week we're going to be announcing the winner. Certainly that's what I think we were saying with the Fury. I'm not sure what you were doing with the Hull C one.
The Hull C one is Sears going to pick the comment that he wants, and I'll probably get onto him this weekend.
All right, so you've got 2 more days to get that one in.
Yep.
The Fury, you go into that, you make sure you subscribe to the YouTube.
Well, they had your ugly mug at the start of the video, Algared. Tell them
you
what
do,
to do.
you do.
Yeah. And he learned what it's like for me recording audio.
The thing that I did notice, I looked down a lot. I have to make sure I'm looking at the camera. So,
but you learned how it doesn't just flow off your tongue. How many takes do we do? Like 4 or 5?
About 4.
Yeah.
Not as many as I do if I'm recording something for school.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But I do find I look down a lot. So my mic is actually making me, I hope, look up more because it's changed position. So if my voice keeps dropping out, it is because my mic's changed position and I keep doing that rather than looking up. And sitting on my cord at the moment is making it uncomfortable. Anyway, so if you want a chance for a free ship, go to those videos. I think the Hull C is the... What's the free ship that's up with the Hull C? Do you remember?
That is an Avenger Titan with solar winds.
All right. And then we've got the with the Fury, the Zag game pack.
And it's got a Fury and a Mustang with it.
And that's and CIG have given us that. And so you go in there.
CIG gave us all of them.
Yeah.
We say that in the videos. Well, we try to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that one as well. But go in, subscribe, leave a comment. Don't double up on the comments.
Well, you can double up, but they won't count.
Yeah, we're only counting your name once, so leave a comment and you're in the running. And we'll do the Fury one. We'll announce next week, and you've got until what, Tuesday? Tuesday to get in and leave a comment, and we'll announce it on next live stream.
That's it.
For that one. So they're your options. And pass them on to your friends. Get your friends to like them as well.
But yeah, if you're after a free ship, man, and we try to do these at the sales. We did it at the end of Victus, and we've done it. We do it at the end of AIE. We reach out to CIG and see if they're, if we give away 5 ships, will they give away 5 ships thing? And they tend to do it with us. So we'll give away 5, they'll give away 5, and they all go to people that are less fortunate, so to speak. That's what. Yeah, but we'll see if they'll do it again. They've done it twice, so we'll just keep asking, and when they say no, they'll say no, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, and Algared did that, so I'm sure he'll do it again and ask, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, next question.
At the moment, I'm in the process of hitting him up for additional prizes to flesh out Gala Apex, but we're giving him time to get over CitizenCon, because that's going to be
I might just ask Earth. I might ask this time, then we'll see.
Yeah. So that's why, so I'm deliberately holding off on that. I've put the question in, but I'm not following it up at the moment just because CitizenCon.
All right.
Tom Van Duren.
Yep.
I know Tom's gone, but his question was, what was the question from I Am Robin, who gave a super chat also? We answered. I Am Robin didn't have a question, only super chat.
Yeah. He just had.
So that's
he
why
just had
we
a
didn't
super
answer
chat.
a question from I Am Robin on super chat.
All right, next one.
Nicola said, that's that one. Luna Maria, right. Didn't see a question. Yep. That's because there wasn't one.
They made it. Someone Mongo Mo's going. We made you give away Nomad. Yes, you did. Right.
Okay. So, do you expect Crystal Stalking H says, do you expect? What do you expect for people to look through 12-year-old archival? Do you expect people to look through 12-year-old archival footage before buying a game when CRG haven't marketed it in so many years? How are new players supposed to even know about it?
That's a part of the game. You've got to do your research. You've got to do what do they call it? An informed consumer. Like it takes time to find good products these days, and not every country has consumer protection laws like other countries do. Like here in Australia, you can just give two shits, because you can literally return it within 2 weeks if it doesn't work properly. But there are other countries around the world, you buy something and you're stuffed. Like when I was in the Philippines, I like on the holiday, I would say, so if there's something wrong with this, I'm bring it back, and they're like, nope. I was like, holy shit, I'm stuffed if this don't work. So I would sit there and I would use it in the store, made sure, and all I was buying at the time was an umbrella, and I'm like, okay, yep, make sure this work, and I brought the umbrella back with me, and it was quite a good umbrella, and it wasn't that expensive. It was only like $20 Australian, but I was like, all of a sudden, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to actually give a damn about what I'm buying here, because if, like here in Australia, if it just breaks, I take it back and get my money back, or get a new one. But not every country is wired that way.
I was working in retail years ago, and I can remember looking at the information on the buyer's rights to return stuff. And one of the things was, if a salesperson misrepresents a product, the product labeling says, yes, this is what it does, but the salesperson misrepresents a product, and you buy the product, you can return it. Even though the box says, this is not a toy. Oh, and the salesperson, oh yeah, this is a toy. Yeah, you can return it because it's misrepresented.
And there's grey as that area there, because this game kind of originated in the States. They can sell it like a USA-based product, but they still have to follow the laws of countries. So they will do the marketing like it's from the United States, but it still has to follow certain laws and stuff. And until this game comes out, there are certain countries, like one of the ones we've read about, Algared, is the Netherlands. Like if they stuff people around in the Netherlands, if you want a refund, it's infinity. It's not like 2 years, 3 years, whatever. If you want a refund for any reason, you can get one. That's some of the most safest. Like it's probably I'm say that's too far. Like you can play something for 10 years and then get a refund is pretty crazy, right? But that is how the law is there. And it's the same thing here in Australia. Like if I wanted a refund, right, I can go get one because the game's not out yet.
So in answer to the question about researching and finding stuff and going through 12-year-old archival footage, well, that's why you've got people like Paul and doing his law podcasts and his ship reviews.
And we do that too when we recommend the ships.
We'll often do a buyer's guide. Like the Fury, we did a buyer's guide. The current video is a buyer's guide. Now, our normal buyer's guide for a Fury or a ship of that cost it's an LTI token, don't touch it. But we also try to look at the pros and cons of that ship and
break it down, because it's a what do you call it? Posterity.
There's also going to be those people who like that particular gameplay or like that aspect, and that ship might be perfect for them.
Yep, and there'll be people that come along 5 years from now.
Yeah,
and they don't know it'll be their first Inforunners video or whatever, So
and by that point, I imagine that LTI tokens won't be a thing, because you'll just, what's the point of doing that? Because the ship's out, the game's out. So there will be that aspect.
I'll give you guys 2 minutes before I close the bot. So 2 minutes to get questions in.
Yep. So Akala Bellamy says, I have a CCU to a Polaris from Akarik with a BMM in the middle. Would you cash in a BMM to fly the Hull C as a loaner today? No. Have a look at the loaner
So
matrix.
what's he saying? He's got a character. So he'd go
got a-
character Banu and then Banu to Polaris.
He's got a Polaris. CCU to So character BMM, BMM to Polaris, I think. BMM to Polaris.
If the final ship is the Polaris, right? I can see pros and cons to this, right? Because there's not any other ships up at that range, but that doesn't mean there won't be. So you could possibly get more savings. So that's what Algared's kind of saying. The other part of it, though, is
I see what he's saying. Yeah, sorry.
Are you more into
was
cargo?
misreading
Because you've got 3 different ships there. You've got an explorer, a combat ship, and a cargo ship. So if you're into cargo more than you're into exploration, I could see going the Banner Merchantman so you can play with the whole sea. I could see that. But by the same token, if you're more into exploration, wouldn't you want to wait and see what the character's like when more of that gameplay comes online? So you have to answer this question. This is not a me and Algared question. This is a you question. You know, what are you more into, and weigh it up. But there's no reason you can't go to the one that you want to go now. If the Polaris is the end thing, it doesn't really matter. It's just that are there any other savings you can get in there?
And
I think
if your BMM is like BMM to Carrick, right, and then Carrick to Polaris, right, going to the BMM so you can play around with the loaner ships and the BMM doesn't matter because you can still CCU from the BMM to that other ship. So if that's what you want to do, yeah, fine. I misread the question, which is why I initially said
so good.
I
Closing the bot. Bot is now closed, so no more questions. Yeah, so it really comes down to, are there any more savings, and what gameplay do you prefer? So that's the question I'd ask yourself. I would say you're not likely to get too many more savings in that area. Maybe down the road you will, but right now at this sale, we'll put it this way, before the Banner Merchantman or the Polaris comes out, the Polaris is going to come before the Banner Merchantman. So if you want to go to the Polaris, and I'm assuming you're going to want to play with the Polaris when that drops, you're only going to have a short period to really play with the whole sea, because the Polaris will be out, what, mid next year, Algared, do you reckon?
Possibly.
Yeah, so you got 6 months to pull. I don't think you're going to get another ship, unless it's the RSI Minor, that could possibly give you a saving in there. What do you think, Algared?
Yeah, that's probably what you're looking at. But if you're looking at, if the BMM is part of your chain to your Polaris, and you have no intention of it's just there as a part of a chain, and it's not something you actually want. Then applying the CCUs up to that point does stop you applying any more World 1 CCUs up in that gap up there.
I think he's already saying he's got the carrick though, so there's not many. There's not many more in there. It's a $50 jump from the carrick to the Banner Merchantman, and then it's only a $75 jump. So there's only like 2 ships in there, like the Hammerhead, the Nautilus, and the Perseus in that gap.
Yeah, I'm reading that he's got a CCU from the carrick to the Polaris, and then further in that chain is a BMM back.
That's not what I read. I read it was a jump from a carrick to the Banner Merchantman, and then from the Banner Merchantman to the Polaris. That's what I heard.
All right, so, but either way, so.
Either way, it's the same thing. It comes down to the gameplay you want, and it comes down to how much money you want to spend and save. So, and we can't answer that because that's a personal question. So,
and if you've already got lots of Warbond CCUs in there that are giving you saving, then once you apply the CCUs, you're not going to be able to slot any more in.
Who was the original person that asked the question?
Akela Bellamy.
Was that on Twitch?
That was a YouTube.
Okay, Akela, just maybe do it. I've turned the bot off.
Hit us up in Akela. Easiest way, hit us up in Discord.
Well, I was gonna say, if you put it in chat, we'll keep an eye out for it, and I'm sure chat will bring it to our attention. So give us a follow-up context question.
And if you hit us up in Discord, we can do a Fix My Fleet with you on it.
Actually, I did send some. We are looking for Fix My Fleets, by the way.
I did see that last night,
and I found one. It was very late.
Yep, it was very late when I saw it, and I went, I'm not answering that now.
Yep, we'll do it tomorrow though, or today, or whatever. Yep.
But I'll do it sometime today. But yeah. Zeros, can you take a hull sea with escort? Yeah. Can't see why you couldn't. Yeah, I read the hull sea anyway, so if you're asking, can you take a hull C as escort? I'd probably say no, but yeah. Shinobi trip. Question statement. Blockades aren't meant to be convenient as long as there is an audio prompt warning players that there is a blockade in the area or new uninterested players have no excuse. Yes,
But you're still
except
forcing it on people.
except if it's at the main hub.
Yeah.
So if it's at the main hub and that is your main area you need to go to, yes, that's a problem. That can become a problem. But yeah, and I do the same at the moment. Like, when the nine-tailed blockade was up, oh, it's over there. Yeah, I just never went there. I just avoided it. I just went I went the long way around. So if you don't like it, you just don't do it, or you log off.
No, well, see, that's the other thing. We've someone in the chat saying they keep sending people to us from Reddit for Fix My Fleets, but the other thing is a lot of people come to the Discord, and the Discord fixes it before it even gets to us sometimes as well. So
yeah,
but I think we've kind of, me and Algared were talking about this during the week. We've done our job. We got the information out there that enough people are now able to help other people. That was why we started doing this. We were like, this is just blasphemous.
Yeah,
you know,
we were constantly having the same question and answering the same question, and we thought, man, let's just do a video.
Yeah,
we can just say, watch that video, watch that video.
But yeah, the whole idea was to get the word out there, like how much overspending people were doing, and yeah.
So yeah, and you can easily, you can save heaps more money.
Yeah.
All right, so Sparkplug, thanks so much for an in-depth exploration of my question, guys. No worries, Sparkplug. Sometimes their answers do go in-depth and they range all over. Princess Bride quote, if anyone picked it up. Probably not. Anyone want a peanut? So Rapidash says, or Rapidash Lords Mobile says, question, has a hull C cargo bug been fixed, and does the hull C get a loaner? Yes. Oh, hang on. Does the hull C get a loaner? No. Why would you get a hull C loaner?
I think he means for Arena Commander. I can check that. I don't know about the bug. I haven't been in since the bug happened with the hull C specifically. I've had other things.
I haven't seen the bug either, so.
It basically means you can't undock from stations and stuff. And yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
All right. So while you're looking that up,
yep,
I'll move on to the next question.
I'll have it in 10 seconds. Just give me.
Yep. Okay. So David Watson, your question will be next. I'll just let you know that.
Hull C is an arrow for Arena Commander.
An arrow in Arena Commander.
Just for everyone's benefit, you can literally go into Google and type in Star Citizen Ship Loaner Matrix, or Star Citizen Ship Loaner will do it, and it'll bring up their support page. They have a support page for it, and it literally tells you every single one.
And it tells you every ship.
Actually, why talk about it when I can just bring it up? There you go. So there it is in the background. And it's just a part of their support thing.
And that tells you the ship loaner matrix. It's not a matrix of lies.
No, that one's very
matrix of truth.
Yeah,
that is the matrix of truth.
Yeah, the other one's the matrix of lies. I like that. That's a good one. The matrix of truth.
So yeah, but you can see that you get the hull C as a loaner for BMM and a couple of other ships I can't remember, but
if I control F again, yeah,
which is why when that question came up, do I melt? I was saying, do I melt the BMM? And I think no, you just keep your BMM and use the.
Well, look at that, Algared. The hull D actually gets the hull C, a Hercules, and an arrow.
Yeah, and I think the E's the same.
Yeah, Merchantman gets a hull C, a Defender, a Hercules, and a C2. Wow. That explains why I've got so many ships right now.
Yep.
Wow, okay, right.
Yep.
Crazy.
All right, so David Watson's question was, what do you think the quality of life updates we can expect to see announced at CitizenCon this year? What coming from Squadron 42, do you think they will finally see an updated Mobilglass and Star Map? I think the Star Map will be one of the things they've been working on. We'll see lots of updates. Well, I think we've been seeing lots of quality updates already.
If you remember back to the start of the year, both me and Space Tomato said Star Map, that's all I give a shit about it. All we get all year is the Star Map update. I'll be good. So yeah, I'm hoping we get that in one of the 321 patches or whatever they're going to call it when it drops. I think we'll definitely get some new ships, and I think without a shadow of a doubt we're going to get stuff on Squadron 42, and I think Squadron 42 is going to steal the entire show. Quite frankly.
Yep. Look. Yeah, I think there's lots of things that we might see at Squadron 42. I think we are going to see something on Squadron 42 at CitizenCon. I know I said Squadron 42, but I think we're going to see Squadron 42 at CitizenCon. I think we're going to see something on. I'm pretty certain I heard Chris say server meshing at CitizenCon. I've heard it somewhere. I think we're going to hear more on that. I hope it means
at least an
they're going
update.
to say, yeah, I hope what we're going to get is we've cracked it and here's Pyro. That is what I hope for.
That'd be
for
great.
PU.
Yep.
For
Squadron 42, I think at the bare minimum we'll get a trailer. But what I'm actually hoping for is a vertical slice, like a demo that we can actually play. And we have that for a whole year that we can play with before the game drops.
And even if I don't do that, I could see one of the things that CitizenCon would have, if they're looking at that point and they're at that point, would be a demo for those at CitizenCon. So they could go into a room, a bit like they did Theatre of the War. I could see them doing a vertical slice where you could play that.
Yep.
And get the feedback. But I expect we'll see something on Squadron 42. I expect we'll see something on server meshing.
Actually, now you mentioned Theatres of War, I think we could see stuff on that too, because we know that that's back on the table now, and we know that that is a thing that they want to do with.
And we know
with Squadron.
Want to put it into but we also know they want to put that into Arena Commander. Yeah. So. Yeah. So I think there's lots we could see. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. And anyway, like just by pure logic, every CitizenCon's only been 1 year up to this point. And you look at how they scrape and nickel and dime with the ISCs to get enough info for one day. There are people coming out with the comments saying, "Oh, they're just spreading out the 1 day over 2 days, so blah 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 blah. Pull it out your ass, whatever." Because literally, you would not hire a whole convention hall for 2 days. It costs too much money.
Yeah.
It comes down to money at the end of the day. They have 2 days because they've got that much information to put out.
Yeah, look, I could even say I'm fully expecting, because of everything I've been reading and hearing, that Squadron is in its final stages. I think that comment on Spectrum from Chris almost crystallized that and said it's not just the final things we're hearing in Spectrum. It's all in the monthly report. That Spectrum thing basically said we're moving teams off back into the PU. That says
like Paul said in his monthly report, and Space Tomato said in both their videos this week. I think the title of Paul's, I'll go look it up so I don't put words in Paul's mouth. But he literally has the what is pre-alpha? That's what it was called. What is pre-alpha? Well, pre-alpha is a beta, dickhead. But they're not allowed to use the word beta because it freaks people out apparently. But pre-alpha is a beta. What comes after alpha? Beta. Pre-alpha is beta.
Pre is before. Pre is before.
Oh, post-alpha. Sorry, they said post-alpha. Whatever the opposite is. Yeah, they said post-alpha. But that's what it is. What's post-alpha? Well, beta and then release. So it's like, so they're moving towards beta for Squadron 42. Big fucking whoopity-doo. We knew that all year. But, and that's why they've been using those terminologies like polishing and refining and all that stuff, because they can't
and finishing
they don't want them to use the word beta because they're trying to keep it a surprise for CitizenCon. It's the worst kept surprise I've ever seen. But
post-alpha, Ricky Smith says, but it is, and all year we've been seeing that, and like I said, we knew 2 years ago, we knew before COVID, that Chris and the family were intending, the plan was they were going to go to Manchester, finish off for the year, and Chris has been there this year, and and the goal is that they'll finish up this year, and I fully expect they'll be in that final polishing stage.
Well, what was the thing that we heard on the roadmap? Something about Squadron. There was rumors was it rumors or was it actually on the roadmap? I'll have to double check again because I can't remember. But they said that Squadron 42 is feature complete. That is literally feature complete in most. Not it's different in every game studio, right? But in most game studios, the end of alpha is feature complete, and then beta becomes this whole polishing stage.
And I think we've been in that polishing stage. Well, as I said, most of the year, every monthly report you'd see.
Yeah.
Polishing, finishing, polishing, adding to, refining.
And that doesn't always happen at the same level at all parts of the game either. But if everything is now, what do they call it? I just had a second ago, I've forgotten it. But if everything is feature complete, that's okay. If it's feature complete, that means we're in beta now, And how long does beta last? Well, if it lasts an entire year, like we're kind of been alluding to with you guys, then that, we're talking about a game that back in 2016 was 600 pages long. This is before Pubertal Planet, right? So I think it's longer, and that was 70 hours they were saying, wasn't they, Algared, at the time?
Yeah, and I can remember little guy, Dave had it.
Yep.
Holding up a script. This is a script for Squadron 42.
Mm-hmm.
This is a script for Wing Commander.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, let's look at that vertical slice. That's a side mission that took an hour and a half. We know that the main, 26 missions in the main mission? Even if they're an hour and a half each, it's a minimum of that's what I have to do math here. Oh, my brain.
52,
yeah. So you
75, 77, somewhere around that.
Yeah, you're essentially looking at a fairly lengthy campaign, like 39, 40 hours.
Like me,
roughly.
You take your time. You're doubling that because
Yeah. So
I'll be going back to the hangar and respawning.
So they're saying roughly 40 hours, but then with all the side campaigns as well, 70 hours is not out of the question at all. So yeah, I think we're going to get our money's worth. And I think, and one of the things me and Algared have often talked about is don't underestimate the stars in this game either. Like some of the most popular Call of Duties had one person, was it Kevin Spacey and Jon Snow? And they were some of the biggest campaigns they've ever had. We've got 30 plus stars in this game.
Yep.
And Mark Hamill is no small,
and
draw card.
And I could imagine, and it's something we talked about ages ago, of, when they launched Squadron, getting the stars in. If they're at that point where they're ready to say this, moving forward, we're at this point, I could see them at LA getting the stars in, and I'd love.
That's another. We didn't even talk about that, did we? Yeah, absolutely. Algared and I've talked about it for ages. If Mark Hamill is not at LA at this year's CitizenCon, I will be really surprised. That's another one.
And I would, and if he's not there, I would expect him to be at next year.
John Rhys Davies will probably be there as well.
Well, he's New Zealand. He does live in New Zealand.
They might fly him over. We'll see. But I'm expecting people that are and it might even be the same thing when it's in Manchester next year. They'll probably bring in maybe Henry Cavill will be at Manchester, or whoever's in Europe or England will go to that one. I wouldn't put it past it at all. And to fly Mark Hamill over to England, they might even do that as well.
Given how much Henry Cavill is a gamer. Could you imagine him possibly just turning up anyway?
Yep.
Now,
absolutely.
do not say that I said that CIG have said this. This is me just BSing.
Yeah. I can see Algared interviewing Henry Cavill right now for fashion tips. How do I do my hair, Henry, to pick up chicks?
Henry, I've got this Richard vibe going, and I really want to get the hag, but what shampoo should I be using?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be a great,
anyway,
great time. All right, we've got 4 questions left, and we've got 8 minutes.
We've got 3 questions left, because one of them is feel-good comment. Luna Mario says, love how these guys discuss questions and not just say yes or no. Sometimes we say yes or no.
Yeah, very rarely.
Sometimes we say no, and we're thinking, you bloody idiot.
That is so true. If we're sure like that, that's us in the back of our head going, what the fuck is wrong with this idiot? Right, anyway.
Yeah. Especially when we both do it.
Yes.
So, yeah, but thanks. Glad, it's appreciated. It is that radio show host type discussion that we always do, and I think that's what most of you guys seem to like. Dark Sylvia says, where was it talked about with CIG having a possible RSI mid-sized ship being released soon?
It's in leaks and stuff.
It is in leaks.
Story shop.
See the video coming up.
But I've had 2 different sources come out to me from different places now, and again, watch the video we talk about on the weekend, and we
Yep.
kind of tell you everything that we've got on it. It is a
Like the
highly
It is
speculatory
highly
video.
speculative.
But generally, when these ships are coming out, we will do those speculation videos because
Yep.
we want to prepare you guys for what's
And-
possibly coming.
And it's also us looking at what, I suppose, types of things we'd like to see. So that speculation is always something that it gives us something to wax lyrical on the things we'd like and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Sean 1299, you keep asking me on Twitch about ships. Watch the video on the weekend about the Zeus. I think it'll be something you're looking forward to based on what you've told me.
Yep.
But yeah, and again, you have to assess that on your own, man. The other thing I'd be saying to you, Sean, you already have, what were the two ships you listed?
Gladius and Cutlass.
Put them together. Get something bigger.
Yeah.
Go together and go up.
Yeah, if you're looking,
one
if you're
big
looking
ship
to,
is because you've got that earned down economy. Then if you've got, let's pick a big ship. If you've got a Caterpillar, you can earn the Cutlass and Gladius fairly quickly in game.
Well,
you can't
what
take
is-
but you can't take the Cutlass and very quickly earn the Caterpillar.
what is the price of a Gladius and Cutlass in game at the moment?
110.90, so $200.
So in game, they're no, the in-game value, like the Alpha UEC
Oh,
cost.
I don't know that off the top of my head. No.
But it's I think the Cutlass a few years ago was enough that my alt account earned a Cutlass Black in January.
So it took him a whole month to earn a Cutlass from an Aurora.
Yep.
Yeah.
So an Aurora to a Cutlass Black in a month.
Yeah. But then you could go out and do one mission in a bigger ship. I think you said you went out in a Retaliator and you earned 300,000 in one mission.
Yeah, when I was doing Xeno Threat, I was doing both, and I was making money, and I did make a lot of money on the alt account doing stuff in the moving boxes.
And to put that in perspective, that's more than the entire price of an Aurora. So the point we're trying to get at is earning down is preferable. So you might like your Cutlass Black and you might like your Gladius, and they're great for now. But again, you can keep them right now and just have that exit strategy. As long as you've got an LTI token or one of those is an LTI token, and you can say you have your Gladius that's got LTI on it, but plan to melt that Cutlass Black and add it to the Gladius, and then turn, you have your CCU chain planned out and just you're essentially filling in gaps. You can do that. You can have exit strategies. So you can have multiple little ships now and pile them all together and get one big one.
Yeah, and it's not saying you have to, but it's certainly an avenue you can take.
Reach out to Algared, and we might do that as a Fix My Fleet, because that's a nice small little one, and we don't get a chance to do a lot of little ones, Sean. So if you want to reach out to Algared on Discord, and we'll do a small Fix My Fleet with you, because as I said, we need a couple of them, and it's always good to do small ones, because small ones are not as always popular with the Fix My Fleet crowd, but the small ones are good for people that don't understand how Fix My Fleet.
They're also often a challenge.
They are often harder than you think.
So, like I the ones that are the Fix My Fleets that are always the most challenging, and where someone says, "I've got this. This is the budget I've got. Where can I go? How can you help me? I've made some mistakes. How can I fix it? How can I get to where I want? This is what I've spent, and I can't. And I've got this. I can put this much more in, or that's all I've got." And depending on the answers, will.
Sean's asking me about the Zeus. Long story short, Zeus. Watch the Zeus video on the weekend. But long story short, from everything I've seen, it is real, right? Whether it is another red herring, awesome. But my sources that I know and trust, that I've learned to trust, are telling me it's real. So unless it's a really good red herring, we haven't seen a red herring this good yet. But if it's a red herring, I'll be very surprised. I think there are red herrings in the code, though. I think the Storm AA that's turned up in the code, I think that's a total red herring.
Yeah, it could be. But bare minimum, look, the Zeus was one of the first. It's a very old ship in lore. It was first ship to get a quantum drive. It was made for 3 people. You can Google that in the Galactopedia. And that's basically it, right? There's a model of it that you can get in the subscriber store that a lot of us have from way back in the day.
It's essentially like the original space shuttle. It looks a lot like a space shuttle. It's not very RSI looking. It's
Yeah.
very different.
It's basically the first. It was the first RSI ship made for, that enabled regular people to go to the stars and fly throughout the solar system. And it was the first ship with a quantum drive, so you could get to Mars in like an hour instead of a month. So it was that type of ship. Lots of backers over the years have said they'd love to have it. Silas Kroner, the evil gum of Consolidated Outland, does have one. And the original is in law in RSI's main office in Seoul. So it's a ship that's in game. It's got history, but rumours are it's going to be put into game. What that's going to look like, how that's going to, is it going to be an old version, a new version, whatever. They're all the questions that we don't really know.
But we answer what we speculate and answer is all in the video.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's giving the background, but also a precursor to the new one.
All right. Our time is up, Algared, in 3 seconds.
got-
So let's do those last few questions. And
Yep.
I'll look for
So the
someone
last
to raid
question,
while you
or
do
the last
that.
two questions are, well, the last question, because we've just answered Sean's as well, because that was the last one. And the last question is from Crix, which is, what is each of your dream ships? So what is each of your, so for each of us, what is our dream ship in game? And in what features would you want to see roles for this ship?
I think for me, there's just not enough gameplay yet to say exactly what's that going to be. The thought of the ship that I like the most at the moment is the Reclaimer. I also like the Polaris, but I also like the Banner Merchantman, all for different reasons.
Yep.
But until that gameplay is in, I can't go, yeah, that one.
Yep.
Algared?
For me, 3 ships. Crucible was always one that appealed and drew me in. A flying toolbox. The Idris was always one that made me think Star Trek and across the universe, and get your crew with your lots of NPCs as your red shirts, go out exploring and just not come back. 5-year mission. And the third ship would be the Endeavour, because it's the pocket knife. It's got everything, and it does more of building and supporting and stuff. So yeah. So that's 3, and that is the end of our questions.
All right. Only because we haven't raided him before. I can't. Should we raid someone playing Star Citizen, or should we just raid someone we know, Algared?
Always raid someone doing Star Citizen.
Okay.
And,
well, that changes.
and
I was going to
in
raid.
YouTube, Luminaria does point out that the reason they keep coming back to to us is because the way we actually do discuss questions, and they just go, "No, you're an idiot."
All right. For the YouTube people, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. It does actually help us out. The metrics and the algorithm very much.
And don't forget, and for everyone, don't forget to go watch the Halsey video and the Fury video and the coming up video on Zeus, and like and subscribe, or subscribe and leave a comment on the previous 2, and be in a chance to win a ship.
All right, so we're going to raid Cobra TV on Twitch. He's a friend of the channel. We've hung out with him before. I've tried to get him on the show, actually, but his time just never lines up with ours, because he's obviously doing content at the same time with us. So we're going to raid him.
Ask him what his favourite ship is and why.
And how many times has he crashed today? He crashes a lot.
Yeah.
Right, with that then, I'll get that raid ready. And YouTube, say goodbye to Twitch. Twitch, say goodbye to YouTube.
Everyone say bye, Twitch. Bye, Twitch.
Have fun, and we'll see you next time. Twitch, bye-bye.
Have fun storming the castle.
And Twitch is gone. All right, with that, YouTube, as we said, we'll have that video ready for you guys this weekend. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. And take care. He's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
Catch you in the next one.